is first and foremost a movement to awaken action. Action to take out time, action to go for regular checkups and screenings, action to see the signs and seek medical advice, because timely action and detection with precision treatment can save lives. So Sanjeevani really is a collaboration between science and humanity, between survivors and change makers, between those who treat and those who triumph. And we are gathered here today to celebrate the spirit. We will talk about the disease, but we are also here to honor the human spirit, the quiet, relentless force within us to fight, to endure, and to heal. As they say, our greatest glory is not in never failing, but in rising every time we fall and fail. And now to set the tone for the evening, I would like to invite on stage Shireen Bhan, the managing editor of CNBC TV 18, to deliver the welcome address. Shireen.
Thank you very much, Mugdha. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. What an absolute pleasure it is to be back here, welcoming you all to the third edition of the National Sanjeevani Convention. Mugdha just gave you a very quick snapshot of what Sanjeevani is about, and it is today my honor to represent the Network 18 family on this very special occasion. We are gathered here, ladies and gentlemen, for a mission. It's a movement and a shared responsibility, one that carries the promise of saving lives. That is what Sanjeevani is truly about. Sanjeevani, United Against Cancer, is a powerful collaboration, as you've heard, through the course of this evening between the Federal Bank Hormis Memorial Foundation, Network 18 and Tata Trust to change the narrative around cancer from fear to one of action, from silence to one of screening. And this should be our collective awakening, ladies and gentlemen, because the numbers compel us to act, and they compel us to act with a sense of urgency. As you just heard, India does face an alarming rise in cancer cases. In fact, let's just look at the numbers. The Indian Council of Medical Research projects an increase from 14.6 lakh cases in 2022 to 15.7 lakh cases by this year, that's 2025. And despite this rising burden, 70% of cancer cases in India are detected at an advanced stage, reversing the global trend where early detection benefits a large majority of cancer patients. Now, low screening rates combined with fear, combined with stigma and misinformation contribute to the late diagnosis and the poor survival outcomes of those with cancer. Access to care is another big cause for concern. Cancer treatment, the cost remains unaffordable for most people in India, often leading to catastrophic death, and that is something that we need to address as well. And while the government and its initiatives and innovations like low-cost immunotherapies offer some hope, India urgently needs scale. It needs to scale up screening programs. It needs to scale up awareness programs and provide affordable treatment pathways to tackle what is fast becoming a national public health emergency. We don't use that lightly. It is, ladies and gentlemen, a national public health emergency. India's cancer challenge demands of us a comprehensive and scalable response, amplifying early detection and closing the myriad access gaps that continue to exist, to also ensure affordable treatment and creating a society that really normalizes screening and early intervention. And Sanjeevani is our collective effort to bridge those divides, turn the tide on cancer, and to safeguard lives. Over the last 2 years, we have reached out to millions of people, and we've helped thousands receive the cancer care that they need. Through on-ground screenings, community workshops, awareness programs, and conversations like we are having here this evening, Sanjeevani is fast becoming a truly people's movement. It is participative, it is engaging, and it is at the heart of building a community. At the heart of this movement is a simple yet urgent call to action. As you heard Mugdha say, Time Nikaalein, screen Karein. Take out the time, get screened, save your life. Screening is important and awareness is our strongest medicine. The power of Sanjeevani lies in participation and in partnership, because beating cancer isn't just the job of doctors or institutions, it is our collective responsibility as corporations, as the media, as healthcare professionals, as civil society, and of course as citizens. When all of us come together, we can multiply, ladies and gentlemen, our impact. And we witnessed the impact of our collective action even earlier. During the COVID-19 pandemic, our campaign, Sanjeevani, A Shot of Life, traveled across India to dispel the myths and drive vaccination and restore hope. We spoke the language of trust and offered help when it was most needed, where it was most needed. It is with the same passion and the same spirit that we take Sanjeevani forward. Today, at the National Sanjeevani Convention, we're joined by medical pioneers, many here in the room here with us, healthcare leaders, corporate leaders, policy influencers, renowned film stars and cancer warriors, each bringing to the table their strengths, their expertise and their voice. And we're all here to listen, learn and to lead. So ladies and gentlemen, tonight, let us not only acknowledge the scale of the challenge, but truly embrace the opportunity to be a part of the solution. Let the National Sanjeevani Convention be a spark. Let each discourse ignite an insight and experience, a voice to move all of us to action. Let Sanjeevani, United Against Cancer, be the change that India so desperately needs. And once again, I hope that you will join us in this endeavor. We look forward to hearing from you. And once again, thank you to all of you for being here this evening and believing in the true power of collaboration. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause to each one of you for joining us here this evening.
Thank you, Shireen. Thank you so much for setting the tone of the evening. And it is my pleasure now to invite on stage our chief guest, Shri Prakash Ambedkar, Honorable Minister for Public Health and Family Welfare, Maharashtra, to deliver the keynote address to highlight the government's cancer prevention strategies and focus towards delivering affordable and accessible cancer care to all.
नमस्कार। संजीवनी इस अभियान के माध्यम से जिस तरह से फेडरल बैंक, CNN और टाटा ट्रस्ट ने जिस तरह से काम शुरू किया है, उसके लिए मैं पहले इन तीनों का बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन करता हूं। महाराष्ट्र में और देश में जिस तरह से कैंसर का फैलाव हो रहा है और इस फैलाव को जिस तरह से रोकने के लिए प्रयास हम लोग कर रहे हैं, इस प्रयास को आज का ये डायस हमारे लिए बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है। सरकार के साथ जब समाज जुड़ता है तो बहुत अच्छी तरह से हम लोग काम करते हैं और ऐसा ही एक प्रयास संजीवनी के माध्यम से आप लोग कर रहे हैं। महाराष्ट्र में केंद्र शासन के माध्यम से हम लोग बहुत अच्छी तरह से कैंसर के प्रिवेंशन के लिए काम कर रहे हैं। साथ ही साथ कैंसर के प्रिवेंशन के बाद हम लोग कैंसर के उपचार के लिए भी काम कर रहे हैं। अभी अगर देखेंगे आप लोग तो कैंसर के लिए रेडिएशन थेरेपी, केमियोथेरेपी असेल, केमियोथेरेपी के साथ साथ अभी हम लोगों ने 8 डे केयर सेंटर शुरू किए हैं। 8 डे केयर सेंटर के साथ साथ अभी 26 फिर सिविल हॉस्पिटल में हम डे केयर सेंटर शुरू कर रहे हैं। कैंसर के ट्रीटमेंट के लिए महात्मा फुले आरोग्यदायी अभियान के माध्यम से भी हम बहुत अच्छी तरह से काम कर रहे हैं। सरकार की तरफ से बहुत ही अच्छी तरह से हम लोग इस पर प्रयास कर रहे हैं। अभी हाल ही में 4 फरवरी से एक अभियान हम लोग चला रहे हैं कि जिस अभियान के माध्यम से रूरल एरिया में, खास करके रूरल एरिया में सभी महिलाओं का स्क्रीनिंग हम कर रहे हैं। जिस स्क्रीनिंग के माध्यम से 2.5 करोड़ महिलाओं का ब्रेस्ट कैंसर हो, ओरल कैंसर हो या सर्वाइकल कैंसर हो, इसके लिए हम लोग स्क्रीनिंग कर रहे हैं। और अभी तक जो कुछ हम लोगों ने स्क्रीनिंग किया है, इस स्क्रीनिंग के माध्यम से जिन लोगों को इसके लिए शंका आशंका हो गई है, उसके लिए उपचार भी हम महाराष्ट्र सरकार की ओर से कर रहे हैं। ये काम हम जिस तरह से कर रहे हैं, साथ ही साथ अभी दूसरा एक आप लोगों को भी परिचित होगा और अभी समाज में जो दूसरा एक काम चल रहा है, 9 से 14 साल के बच्चों को भी एचपीवी की लस जो हम लोग दे रहे हैं, केंद्र शासन के माध्यम से उसके लिए एक अभियान चला जाएगा। उसके माध्यम से बहुत प्रिवेंशन के लिए एक महत्वपूर्ण काम महाराष्ट्र सरकार भी कर रही है। ये सभी काम हम जिस तरह से कर रहे हैं, उस काम में जिस तरह से आप लोगों ने सहयोग दिया है, उसके लिए मैं आपका अभिनंदन इसलिए करता हूं कि अभी इसकी बहुत ज़रूरत है। लोग डरते हैं, लोग 3rd स्टेज पे 4th स्टेज पे जब उसका डायग्नोस होता है तो जाते हैं तो बहुत पैनिक, फाइनेंशियली पैनिक, और उसका रिजल्ट भी अच्छा नहीं आता। हम लोगों की जिम्मेदारी यही है कि जिस तरह से फेडरल बैंक और CNN ने काम किया है, हम सभी लोगों को समाज को एक होकर इस फाइट अगेंस्ट कैंसर, यूनाइटेड अगेंस्ट कैंसर, और बाहर निकलिए और स्क्रीनिंग कीजिए। ये जो अभियान आपने चलाया है, ये अभियान बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है। हम लोग तो ये कर ही रहे हैं, लेकिन समाज के, सरकार के साथ अगर समाज जुटेगा तो ही ये अभियान यशस्वी होगा। इसलिए मैं बहुत बहुत शुभेच्छा देता हूँ आपके इस अभियान को। महाराष्ट्र सरकार की ओर से जो कुछ सहायता लगेगी उसके लिए हम लोग बहुत आभारी रहेंगे कि हम लोग भी आपके साथ जुटेंगे और एक बहुत अच्छे तरह से कैंसर को महाराष्ट्र के बाहर निकालने के लिए एक अच्छी तरह से कदम उठाएंगे। थैंक यू, धन्यवाद।
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for not just gracing the occasion, but also speaking to us. I would now like to call upon our guest of honor, Dr. Suresh H Advani, a pioneering figure in oncology. He is the first oncologist in India to successfully perform a bone marrow transplant. With over 50 years of experience, having treated more than 2 million patients, Dr. Advani specializes in leukemia, lymphoma, and breast cancer treatments. He uses advanced methods like immunotherapy, targeted therapy, precision oncology. Dr. Suresh has led groundbreaking clinical trials and researches, authored key researches in leading journals, and trained many, many prominent oncologists. He has been honored with the highest civilian awards of India, the Padma Shri in 2002 and the Padma Bhushan in 2012. Sir, we are honored to have you here.
Thank you very much. Yeah, good evening, friends. I'm really happy and excited by the presence of so many luminaries over here who have gathered here to really look into the problem of the cancer world over as well as in our country. I must congratulate Sanjeevani Trust that they have really taken up this fight against the cancer. Actually, it is not the fight. It is just that we have to modulate ourselves to really see that cancer disappears. I think that's the whole idea about why we should join together and take care of the cancer in our population. As all of us know now that the cancer is rapidly increasing. There are 1.4 million new cancers every year, a huge burden on our country and health system. All over the world, the cancer is increasing very rapidly, more so in the underdeveloped countries. And that's why I think we have really a big task to be ready to fight with the cancer. The fight with the cancer starts at 3 pillars. We have 3 pillars where we have to unite and take care of it. The first one is the awareness and prevention. I think if you ask me what is the really most important which will create the healthy society is the awareness. Awareness about the disease, awareness about its early signs, awareness about its impact. That awareness creates a tremendous improvement. I can just share with you what has happened in India. India, breast cancer is common. In cities, today, 1 out of 28 ladies, all cities, whether it's Bombay, Delhi, Calcutta, Madras, everywhere, 1 out of 28 ladies are going to suffer from the breast cancer. Huge number. In US, New York City, it is 1 out of 8. So they have bigger burden. And if you look at the whole thing, that the breast cancer is rapidly increasing. It's more so in the cities with a particular lifestyle. It's less common in villages. However, I must emphasize, the most important thing is awareness. Awareness in the city is definitely better. Awareness in the villages is very low. So what do we see? All patients who come from villages, three-tier cities, they come with an advanced stage. 80% of them come with a stage 3 and 4. Why look at Bombay? Bombay today, 50 to 60% of the patients that we see are in stage 1 and 2. So that's the difference. That awareness, information, knowledge can make a big impact in terms of the early diagnosis. Of course, we have also the prevention. Apart from the awareness, we can prevent the disease. How can we prevent the disease? All of us know that how mouth cancer, esophagus cancer can be prevented by just stopping the tobacco. Lung cancer can be prevented by just stopping the smoking and air pollution. Similarly, the breast cancer is also one of the most preventable disease. You wonder how we are talking about prevention of the breast cancer. Actually, it's very simple. Look at the whole data in olden days. People were there, population were there, but breast cancer was rare. Why? Because of the changing lifestyle. The number of breast cancer has increased because of the changing lifestyle. And I will just tell you 3 factors which have played a major role in increasing the breast cancer. First one among them is the way we work or do the physical activities. In villages and in olden days, all the ladies have to do a lot of physical activities. They have to get the water, go walk for 1 kilometer, get the water, wash the clothes, and do a lot of cooking and whatever work they were doing. And look at what is happening now in cities. Everything is automated. Everything is automated. And therefore, physical activities have come down. Right from the children onwards, physical activity has gone down because of this mobile and all the TVs and all. Physical activities have really come down. And that is one of the major factors for the rise in the breast cancer. And the second, which is major factor, is also the age of marriage and age of the first child. The data is very clear-cut that those ladies who got married before the age of 25 and had the first child before the age of 25, the incidence of the breast cancer is less than 1/3 as compared to those ladies who have married after 25 and have the first child after 25. In US, I am told now that the age of marriage is going to be 35. And the age of the lady at the first child is going to be 37. And they are going to face a real big problem in terms of the breast cancer. The number will increase in there. Same way you look at in India, in cities, who marries before the age of 25? Hardly any. I can't remember any of my relatives who were married before 25. But you go to the village, by 18, 20, they are married, and by the time they are 22, they have a first child already. So look at what is happening in terms of the physiological changes which are happening because of the these factors. So I think awareness and prevention is the most important factor in terms of the cancer control or cancer prevention. The second thing which already have been discussed is the access to the treatment. Of people who are unfortunate do not have the access to the treatment at the time of the diagnosis, or those are the one who get the late diagnosis, and late diagnosis leads to the worse outcome in terms of the treatment as well as the cost increases. So the access of the treatment, although we must admit that access to the treatment in India has improved remarkably. Remarkable. In my 50 years, I have seen absolute change. But moment you go out of the big cities, the access to the treatment drops down. It just drops down. So we have to really see that each one of our population has access to the treatment. And that's where I think the voluntary organizations like Sanjeevani can play a major role in terms of developing all the proper access. And lastly, of course, I think which is also important part of our functions today is the funding for these people as well as the psychological support. The patient needs a lot of psychological support. The patient relatives need a lot of psychological support. And that's the only way to make sure that we finish the treatment. And that's where I think some of our patients, survivors, can also play a major role. They can really talk to the newly diagnosed patient and give them a healing touch. And that's how they will be able to really progress further. So I think today we have gathered here not as an individual. Individual doesn't matter. But we have gathered here as a joint force of hope. The hope to really make sure that the cancer burden is eased in our population. The cancer burden has to come down. The cancer burden has to be easy, which means the early diagnosis. And all of us know that the truth, there's a truth in this, that early diagnosis saves the life. There's no question on that. You find nowadays, you find so many breast cancer who have been diagnosed early, they are cured and they are living a normal life. That way, many other diseases, early diagnosis has played a major role in terms of the cure. So I think this joint effort, producing the hope for the betterment of the patient, hope to diagnose the disease early, hope to give the better access to each and everyone in our population, and the hope also to drive away the fear, the stigma, which people feel that they have the stigma because of the diagnosis of the cancer in their family or in the patient. And all these fears are myths today. And there are no real standing. Like I think our guest, she mentioned that many people have a myth in their mind. Everybody almost. The moment we say that we want to do the biopsy, they'll tell us that it is sprayed after the biopsy. And that's an absolute myth. It's so difficult sometimes to convince a patient that we must do the biopsy to get the proper treatment. So I think, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not here to give a big lectures. And some of us are very fond of holding the mic for a long time, but that's not the purpose of this meeting today. The purpose of the meeting is to make sure that each one of us understand our responsibility and join together to really help each other, help our government, help our NGOs, help our medical institutions to really carry out a Herculean task of prevention and controlling the cancer. Thank you very much.
Thank you for those insights, Dr. Suresh, and for gracing us at the National Sanjeevani Convention. A huge round of applause for Sir once again. As you rightly said, and that is what this convention is also all about. It is our effort in bringing together many thought leaders who are from across sectors, who have seen the disease from close quarters, and are determined now in their resolve to improve the cancer landscape in India. Well, it's now time to introduce you to our esteemed partners. First up is KVS Manian, the MD and CEO of Federal Bank. With a wealth of experience and proven track record of success in the banking industry, KVS Manian brings not just leadership, but a deep commitment to Sanjeevani's mission. He is a true champion of the cause and has been instrumental in aligning corporate purpose with public health impact. We also have none other than the acclaimed actor Vidya Balan with us, a powerful advocate for the health awareness campaign, and Vidya Balan is the beating heart of Sanjeevani since a while. Her voice has helped break the silence around cancer. It has encouraged countless men and women to prioritize their health and go for early detection, screenings, and go towards self-care, really. But before they both join us on stage, I would like all of us to watch this film where Vidya really walks the talk.
So now you're ready to meet the doctor.
Okay, thank you. Hi. आप सोच रहे होंगे मैं हॉस्पिटल गाउन में क्या कर रही हूँ? नहीं नहीं, I'm not sick. और ना ही मेरा कोई शूट चल रहा है. मैं यहाँ आई हूँ for a very special reason. कैंसर स्क्रीनिंग कराने. और इसी बहाने आपको भी याद दिला दूँ कि कैंसर स्क्रीनिंग जरूरी है.
Hi Vidya.
Hi, Doc.
Are you ready?
Yes.
I'm so happy that you decided to get screened. I hope you're not scared.
I am nervous.
Well, डरने की कोई बात नहीं है. I can assure you that cancer screening is much easier than playing the role of a bhoot.
Okay.
बाकी टेस्ट तो हो गए. Let's go do mammogram.
Yes, doc. चलिए, let's get screened. It's done. शुरू में थोड़ा अजीब लग रहा था, but after a few minutes, I was fine. Hi, doc. You were right. There was really nothing to worry about.
I'm so glad, Vidya, you're done with all your tests. Takes around 2 to 3 days for the test results to come back. When they're back, we can connect again and discuss the next steps.
Hopefully, no next steps. Doc.
Oh yeah, of course. You take care of it.
Will do. Thank you, doc. देखा आपने? It's not that difficult. और अगर मैं कर सकती हूँ, तो आप क्यों नहीं? और symptoms का wait मत कीजिए. Time निकालें और screen करें. Please.
Well, on that note, put your hands together for Vidya Balan and KVS Manian, and I welcome them on stage for a fireside chat with Shireen Khan. Also, we'll shortly meet Dr. Limaye as well, who was on the screen.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's wonderful to have Vidya and KVS Manian back with us on the Sanjeevani stage. I remember our last conversation, so it's great to have you back here, Vidya and Manian. You know, as I was listening to you, Doc, I was ticking the risk factors and all the risk factors that I need to worry about, and I clearly a high-risk category at this point, and I better go and get myself checked. But, the point of Sanjeevani, as we spoke of early in the evening, is to really create awareness. And Vidya, I want to talk about that film, because as you walk out, you crossed your fingers and you said, I hope there are no next steps.
Yeah.
And that's really the fear that prevents us from even attempting to screen, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Firstly, good evening, everyone. I think fear plays such a huge role in, in us getting screened regularly. Like, I have so many friends in recent months. 2 people very close to me have gotten detected with cancer, one with throat cancer and one with breast cancer. And in both cases, in one case there were symptoms in the girl who has throat cancer. The other one went for a regular executive checkup.
Yeah.
And that was not what she was expecting to hear at all. So, and you don't think that you want to get screened because you're like, no, until I have symptoms, kuch nahi hoga. Because we all want to believe that cancer still carries a huge stigma because there's so much fear of loss of life. But what we're not recognizing is that things have moved forward to such an extent today that early detection can really help. So in her case, she's also at an age where she should have done the screenings regularly, and maybe she would have figured before the executive checkup that she had breast cancer, but she didn't, and then it was in an advanced stage. But in both cases, I'm very happy to report that, they're both doing very well, their treatment is progressing. Yeah, I think we have to find solace in these examples, and the more I look around us, the more, incidents of cancer are being seen. But that much more, and doctor, please correct me if I'm wrong, I think that many more people are also healing, are coming out of it. And that is very reassuring. But yes, it is a fear that keeps us from, like someone who's very close to me and was detected with lymphoma about 3 years ago. He said, every time I entered a hospital for anything, I'd not look at the cancer department. I was like, I don't even want to look in that direction. So when he got detected with lymphoma, I think it hit so hard. It was the thing you were running away from. So I really want to say that this campaign is very close to my heart because, I've seen someone be saved, heal, and go into remission thanks to early detection. Because life happens. But it's what we do with it that determines finally how our lives turn out.
Absolutely. I think as you, articulated here, narrating the incidents that you've had a look at from close quarters, that these are things that you don't expect, and especially if you're asymptomatic, you don't even want to think about it as a possibility, but early screening does help, as Vidya just pointed out. But Vidya, are you now being much more mindful about how you approach not just, cancer, but health in general?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I think, I was someone who's had a history of niggling issues since the time I was a kid, gastric, hormonal, blah, blah, blah. So I think I had no choice but to take charge of my health early on. But I do think there is more awareness, more responsibility, and this is a multi-pronged approach. It's not just, I think, about exercise, about the food you eat, about the amount of sleep you get, about the water intake, but I think it has so much to do with mental and emotional health. Which is also something, I think physiology is greatly impacted by our emotional and mental health. And that, I think that's something I've seen, in a lot of people who generally are, it's not about being positive and not having a positive attitude, but saying that, I just want to do the best I can for myself. Before we go out and conquer the world, we have to do our bit for ourselves.
Absolutely.
Before doing anything for the world. So charity has to begin at home.
Yes, and as I keep saying, women, we must put ourselves on our to-do list. We always tend to prioritize everyone and everything
absolutely.
else. And it's critical and crucial that we put ourselves on our to-do list as well. You know, Vidya was talking about health and how mindful she is of health. I just saw her down an entire bottle of water in barely 2 seconds, Vidya. I mean, that's almost like a trick.
You know,
A
Shrina,
party trick.
I have to admit to you that I can down a liter of water at a time.
In one go?
In one go. So people around me think that it's insane. But I have an insatiable
Thirst.
need for water since the time I was a kid. You know, and I don't know, I can keep having water. I don't even know if it's healthy, not healthy, but I actually think that I have quite a bit of water, and that despite, like I said, the niggling issues, that's also held me in good stead.
If there's an award for water drinking, it could go to Vidya Balan. I'm
wish there
telling you,
was
I've
something
never
like
seen
that.
anything. I've never seen anything like that. But KVS, let me come to you now. And you know, we've been doing this together with Federal Bank. But before I talk to you about Sanjeevani, congratulations to you and Federal Bank, now India's 6th largest private bank. So a big round of applause to you and your team. But you know, bankers talk numbers. So let's talk numbers and let's talk about the outcome of what we've actually been able to achieve so far with Sanjeevani and what we intend to now amplify and give further momentum to.
You know, if I talk about sheer numbers, I think we've been able to, apart from the direct impact that the campaign has had on probably crores of people, but directly we've been able to help about 20,000 people in the last 2-3 years. And I think the way we are scaling up, probably we'll do 20,000 this year, right? So I think that's a direct impact. But the interesting part of that is it is not the 20,000 number alone. You know, we have also evolved through this journey over 3 years as to how we do this. Earlier we started off as just helping awareness through the Sanjeevani, the campaign. But then later we realized that it's also important to support directly, right? So we changed the overall program in our sense to be a mix of awareness and direct support to people. And interestingly, when we figured the second part out, you know, we realized that the quality of that support, sometimes you can, you know, many people can have insurance for their medical, but we have found people struggling with the travel costs, staying costs, and ancillaries.
And those are very high costs.
And those are very high costs, and especially in remoter parts, you know, those become the problem of actually getting access. So, in fact, we have changed the nature of our support to be more, you know, flexible on some of these. So, we have also evolved, and I think more and more we learn being part of this program, we can do small things better.
No, absolutely. And you know, you were talking about the cost burden, and it is a significant burden. And in fact, it is largely out-of-pocket spends for significant majority of Indians. We don't have access to insurance. Insurance penetration continues to be very, very poor at this point in time. From that perspective, you know, we were just talking to the minister from Maharashtra, and he said that he would like the government to partner with the corporate sector. What do you believe should be the road forward in terms of being able to address the cost challenge, the cost burden? One, of course, is affordable infrastructure and setting up healthcare services that are accessible. But two, trying to provide financing in a way that matters to people. What could the solutions be?
So, you know, this initiative that every district should have cancer centers, and the minister was talking about that, right? Setting up this government initiative, I think, makes the access easier. The costs that I was talking about, you know, travel, stay, these costs become easier. So that is one. The medical itself, like you said, insurance penetration being what it is a problem. The third aspect to this, we have also figured out, this is also a growth we have had over these 3 years. We have also moved from awareness to direct support to infrastructure. So we are working with one of the partners to this program was CMC, and we are trying to set up, so we are trying to set up infrastructure which will help health, right? So we are talking to some hospitals where we can set up their cancer centers. We are talking to, or education in medical education and things like that. So CMC was one such initiative. So I think there are multiple facets to this,
Yes.
problem, and you can come to it through various angles and try to attack the
And
problem.
it still won't be enough because the
It won't
scale
be
of the
enough.
problem and the scale of the challenge is so large. And we'll hear from several of the other partners that we have, other corporations, and what they are trying to do to address this challenge with my colleague Ekta Batra in a short while from now. But, coming back to the larger issue, and I'm often asked this question, that why does CNBC TV18, a business channel, have a healthcare program, which my colleague Ekta anchors and produces every week? It's called The Medicine Box. And I'm surprised that that is a question asked of us, because health is actually the best and the biggest investment that we need to make as a nation, as a society. Are you surprised if people still ask you this question as, what is Federal Bank doing with Sanjeevani?
Absolutely. I think in some ways, I think CSR is some kind of a good tax, right?
Yeah.
And I think CSR has willy-nilly landed up getting corporations to think like humans, right? So we use a tagline internally and even externally. We call ourselves digital to the fore and human at the core, right? So I think human relationships, human emotions are important. And I think it's good that some of these CSR initiatives make corporations more human.
Yes.
And I think it's a very important thing for, finally, corporations are made up of people.
Yes.
So I think it's important in your, not only employees as a stakeholder, but the communities around you, that we act with some human emotion, and this is an opportunity. So I don't think it should be a surprise.
Absolutely, and it's not just net interest margins that you need to worry about, but you need to worry about the balance sheet of the economy, and health plays a significant role there. But Vidya, these films are playing across our television screens. They're playing in theaters and so on and so forth. Do people walk up to you now asking you for advice on what they should do as far as their health is concerned?
No, not yet, but I did have a few people ask me, oh, so did you really do the test? How is it? Is it scary? Kya tha result? So, because again, it comes back to the fear factor, right? So I think people are like, I just think it's, I hope many more people, I'd be happy if they came and asked me for advice, because then I know that the message has really gone through to people. I think it has, and huge applause to the entire team that's made it possible at Federal Bank, Network18, Sanjeevani, because 20,000 people is not a small number.
No.
But I'm hoping that, very soon that number just multiplies. So for that, whatever, I don't know. I think, we just need to be even more aggressive. And I'm saying this in front of MVS, who's probably the most
Aggressive person on the planet. Yes, MVS, Vidya Balan is calling you the most aggressive
marketing
the most aggressive
person.
marketer. So your raise is guaranteed, MVS. But Vidya, you said something about normalizing these conversations, and I look at you posting on social media and in your interviews where you talk very candidly about your own health challenges and about what you've tried to do to be able to find solutions. This is not usual. We don't really see people in the public eye, especially, talking about what they're going through or how they've tried to address it. What made you want to do that? What made you want to be open about what you're going through?
I don't think it was a conscious decision. I think it's just perhaps who I am. So I love sharing with people. I love hearing people's stories. Also, if I've benefited from something, like in between I was talking about an anti-inflammatory diet and everyone thought it was an endorsement, and it wasn't. I pay them. They don't pay me. But it was so beneficial that when someone asked me about it, I spoke about it openly, because I feel even if it's going to help one person, whether it's with the diet, whether it's with health issues and how one has tackled it, whether, this myth around excessive exercising at the cost of sleep, not dealing with stress, all those things, I think these are experiences that, I just feel they benefited me, the understanding, the awareness, and therefore, when I get an opportunity, I talk about it. It's like, even if there's one person that benefits from this, it'll be worth it.
No, I was following the anti-inflammatory stuff. So yes, thank you very much for sharing. But, and a very close mentor of mine has often told me, and he's in the healthcare space, that you are not your disease.
Yeah.
And it's very hard actually to get people to acknowledge that, to recognize that, because very often, especially when you're afflicted with something like cancer, it's almost like cancer has happened to you and you become the disease, and there is nothing else or nothing more to you. How do we, as someone who has dealt with all kinds of things, in films, off films as well, the emotional resilience that you spoke of, what is your mantra? What is your secret to finding that emotional resilience? How do you do it?
As someone who's dealt with body image issues forever, I realized that I'm not just the body. It was a lesson I learned over time. So even when it comes to, any health issue, there is, okay, this is happening to me currently, but this is not
Who I am.
I'm not going to let this define me. It's like you have to let it flow. It comes and goes. So, I think I had that realization early on. But I do think that, people, we need to also have a lot more counselors, health counselors, people that can talk not just to patients. And I'm not just talking about cancer. Cancer, very importantly, like I said, because of the stigma, but even otherwise. So I think taking care of your mental health, getting that support, being able to just share with someone your insecurities, your fears is so important. But equally, I think, like Dr. Advani said, it's also the caretakers who need it.
Yeah.
It's also the medical staff that needs, because we don't even realize what they're going through. And then I think also, especially in the case of cancer, there is a lot of PTSD.
Yes.
Because you deal with it when you're going through it. And after that is when, it changes who you are in a way that's not, it really depends on how you deal with it. So I think because in most cases, it's such a shock to people that they need that support. And we should not be ashamed to ask for help or support or a listening ear. And we have to make that accessible and affordable.
No, I agree with you. I think, we focus and prioritize physical recovery and physical rehabilitation, but we don't talk about the emotional cost of having to deal with something like this, the emotional recovery and the tools that we require to make that emotional recovery as well. But, KVS, let's talk about what you believe we can do to actually get more corporations to sign up for this. How do we onboard more partners to take the Sanjeevani message forward? How do we make this a movement at scale? Because this is a population scale problem.
So, every corporation has their CSR charter, as they say. And I think the task begins there, right? I think we have to get more corporations to include this in their charter of CSR, because generally it's a structured program. Most corporates would like to stick to their charter and they choose 2 or 3 focus areas and then they focus on that. For example, we are always focused on 3 things: health, education, and skills and empowerment are the 3 areas that we look at. So our CSR is usually structured around these 3.
Yeah.
So health is where Sanjeevani fits in for us. So I think it's important to get this right at the charter stage. And I guess there is nothing more than continuing effort like this.
Yes.
The awareness is not only about awareness for people who see this for screening, but hopefully this is also creating awareness amongst corporate executives who are going to see this program on CNBC.
Yes.
Even they will get more aware of a program like this. So I'm sure this is the only way going forward.
And hopefully these conversations will be normalized at the workplace as well, and that is what we're attempting to do, and that is a core part of the campaign in this season specifically, is really mainstreaming this within the workplace as well. But do you have a health regimen that you follow religiously? I know your detox method is singing, but outside of that, what do you do to stay healthy?
No, so, about 15 years back, I used to be a smoker. I used to smoke 15 cigarettes a day. I decided to quit cigarettes and then really got on to my health kind of regimen. It's not very complicated. Have the right food, sleep well. Vidya talked about it. Sleep well, have the right food, exercise, moderate exercise.
And sing a little bit also.
And once in a while relax, sing. Now I'm trying to learn meditation. I'm bad at it, but...
Why are you bad at it? Because your mind is wavering.
Yes, yes. So, I'm trying to fix that.
So that's the next edition of Sanjeevani. We'll have large meditation workshops and get people to take that forward. But Vidya, for all the young women, especially young girls who are watching this, and I want to go back to the comment that you made, that you've always had to deal with body image issues, because there is a certain type, there's a certain template that we've glorified as what constitutes as beautiful or what constitutes as beauty. In fact, just I think the other day, Zara was in the news because they were pulled up for using very thin models in their ads, and it creates this unnecessary burden of expectations on what women must look like. But we're in a social media world where everything is reels, everything is filters, and so on and so forth. What gave you the courage, or how did you actually overcome of body dysmorphia that have now become so common?
I think I had no choice, honestly, because I wanted to be an actor. This is the only thing I've ever wanted to do. And I was getting the opportunities. I was not going to let that stand in between me and my dream. And I say this with a great amount of gratitude and joy that my body has never stood in between, my body size has never stood in between me and my work. Yeah. Which is why even at my biggest, I was doing films, I was getting as many opportunities. Maybe the nature of opportunities changes with, when you're a different size. But I think I'm very grateful for the kind of work I got. But that's because I had decided that, it's not like I didn't want to be like those skinny models. Everyone wants that. Unfortunately, it's such a sad thing because we all judge each other.
Yeah.
For our appearance.
Yes.
Body, skin color, even today, and it's shocking, but it's true. So I think, and I started faking it till I actually
made it.
Yeah, they say fake it till you make it. I started saying I love and accept myself just the way I am. I started working with a healer 14 years ago, and that has been very, very helpful. The healing I do is pretty much like therapy. She gives me various tools to work with, and just acknowledging what I'm feeling, and recognizing that every body is unique, and actually giving gratitude for the body I have, because I realize that it's this body that's keeping me alive. The day my body packs up, I'm not going to be here.
Yeah.
So, I think that shift, it's been a slow process. But I think when you realize that you have one life and you have one body, no matter what surgery you get done, the people are getting more and more surgeries done, I think because they're wanting to change something intrinsically about themselves, which you're not able to do, and therefore changing it externally. But, you can't deny that, you are who you are and your body is what it is.
Yeah.
We have to accept, and at some stage, honor, celebrate that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. And I hope young women are listening to what Vidya is saying, because it is so important to really celebrate your uniqueness. It is what makes you special. It is what makes you you. And to celebrate that, I think that is such an important message. But, you know, we're in a difficult macro environment at this point in time, to say the least. President Trump is doing all kinds of things, and the world is in a state of flux. Do you worry sometimes that with everything that's going on, with the uncertainty around us, that it gets hard for corporations specifically to prioritize these issues, which are important, but they're not really your core in that sense?
No, of course, you know, in better times, when you make more money, you can also spend more money, right? It's a reality of...
it hasn't been a bad time for banks. I mean, this year has been a little bumpy, but last year was a great year for banks.
So I think it's okay. We actually, if you look at it, we made our record profits last year.
Exactly.
Right? So it's okay. I think while the economy does have some headwinds arising out of this Trump tantrums, but hopefully things will get better, and we'll find some solution. Hopefully our political dispensation will also be keen to find some solution to this. So I'm quite optimistic that things get better from here. Overall, I do believe that next 2-3 decades for India are very, very important, and I'm quite optimistic about the next 2-3 decades in India. So I think things will be better. Overall.
Yes, and
you might have air pockets once in a while, but it's okay.
Air pockets and turbulence are stuff that we have to learn to deal with. But as you pointed out, we do have a lot to look forward to. Vidya, I'm going to end by asking you, what are you looking forward to as far as the year ahead is concerned? What's exciting you? What's inspiring you? What's motivating you to do more?
Everything, actually. It's not just one thing. It's not one film project or one brand endorsement or, you know, everything, just life. You know, especially post-pandemic, I think the one thing that's defining my everyday is gratitude. Even at the end of a tough day, at the end of a day that I feel has not gone the way, I think gratitude is the only thing. And I think, therefore, I feel excited about everything I do, you know, because I feel like, oh, wow.
You're here another day.
Yeah, absolutely. And I look forward to all the work. I'm starting a film in a couple of weeks from now. So I'm not at liberty to talk about it, but it's exciting. But besides that, like I said, life.
Yes, and you do. I mean, I again go back to your social media posts. You're having a lot of fun. You're having a lot of fun, aren't you? Is this a difference that's happened over the last few years, that you're just so much more comfortable in your skin, that it's reflecting on what you do and how you do it?
Absolutely. I think it's actually the pandemic changed something in me. I'm sure it did. You know, change lots for all of us. But I just felt like, you know, I don't want to take life so seriously. Look at what's just happened. The entire world came to a standstill. And I felt like, therefore, I just want to smile, laugh, have a good time, enjoy myself, be ridiculous, you know.
Vidya, you didn't say. Our brand ambassadorship happened.
Yes, absolutely. MBS is a first. No, it's true. It's true. So I think, you know, and I think, yeah, things just happen when you let them happen and not try to control them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And let the universe do your work for you as well, and just be open and flexible and open to receiving as well. And that's what you're attempting to do. Let me end by asking you, can I get one line of your favorite song?
No.
Yeah, you know, I was going to suggest that before we ended. That's part of my deal.
That's part of Vidya's deal. Okay, you can mouth it for us. You don't have to sing it for us. Okay, no, fine. For another next year, Sanjeevani, we are going to get Manian to perform.
So that curveball I'll prepare for next time.
We've given you advance notice. Vidya Balan and KVS Manian, many thanks for joining us here this
Thank
evening.
you so
Ladies and
much.
gentlemen, give them a big round of applause, please. Thank you so much for your time and for being
Thank
here.
you,
this
Shireen.
evening.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Manian. Thank you, ladies. Thank you. That was a powerful conversation full of wisdom and also laughter. I would now like to call upon our partner and champion of the cause, Venkatraman Venkateswaran, the Executive Director of Federal Bank, for a special address.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed partners, medical professionals, thought leaders, and all those who have joined us today. It is with immense pride and heartfelt gratitude that I welcome you to this year's National Sanjeevani Convention. Sanjeevani, a landmark undertaking of the Federal Bank Hormis Memorial Foundation, is born from our deep commitment to societal well-being and brought to life in proud collaboration with Network18, the Tata Trust, and the constellation of India's leading hospitals. Together, we are expanding the frontiers of public health, not just through medical innovation, but through compassion, outreach, and relentless dedication. This bold journey began in 2023 with a vision to change lives. What started as a transformative initiative to bridge the gap in cancer awareness, early detection, and access to care has since grown into a nationwide movement of hope, healing, and human connection. We gather here today not just for a conclave, but for a cause, a deeply human one. Cancer, as we all know, has cast a long shadow on the lives of millions across the globe. In India, the numbers are sobering, but even more concerning is the gap in awareness, access to screening, and timely support, especially in rural and underserved regions, as Doctor mentioned earlier. At Federal Bank, we believe that institutions, just like individuals, have a responsibility beyond business. We are not just a bank that manages wealth, but one that believes in nurturing well-being, financial and physical. The Federal Bank Hormis Memorial Foundation, named after our visionary founder, late Sri K.P. Hormis, reflects something personal to us. It is not just a commitment to societal progress, but a promise to carry forward his values of compassion and purpose-driven growth. Over the years, the foundation has supported countless initiatives in education, healthcare, livelihood enhancement, and disaster relief. This year, Sanjeevani adds a powerful new chapter to that legacy, building on our momentum and widening the circle of care. Why cancer? Why now? And why us? Because early detection can save lives. We heard that earlier as well. Because access to quality care shouldn't be a privilege, but a right. And because we, as an institution rooted in communities, have the reach, the partnership, and above all, the will to act. We are proud to partner with organizations that share our vision and amplify our values. The Tata Trust, with their unparalleled contribution to public health in India, Network18, with its ability to take critical messages to every corner of the nation, and the many hospital chains who bring cutting-edge medical science and compassionate care to the heart of this initiative. Together, we are creating a network of hope. Sanjeevani is not just a campaign, it is a movement. A movement that will drive awareness, because the first step to fighting cancer is knowing about it. Screening, because early diagnosis is the most powerful treatment. And support, because no one should walk the cancer journey alone. Through this initiative, we aim to reach the thousands of people across the cities and rural India with awareness drives, free screening, expert guidance, and emotional and financial support where needed. We will use the power of storytelling, medical science, collaboration to break taboos, remove fears, and light the path to prevention and recovery. In closing, let me say this. We are a bank, yes, but we are also a beacon of belief. Belief in a healthier, stronger, and more resilient India. An India where people live not in the fear of illness, but in the confidence of timely care. Thank you to all our partners, the medical fraternity, our team at Federal Bank, and to every individual who makes Sanjeevani more than just a name. It's a lifeline. Let's fight cancer together. Let's create a future of health, hope, and healing. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that vision and mission. Remember, cancer is only a word, not a sentence, if got early. Our next discourse is on how and why cancer screening is our strongest weapon in the battle against cancer. To moderate this session on screening is Sovereign. I'd like to invite on stage Anand Narasimhan, Managing Editor, Special Projects, and Senior Anchor, CNN News 18. Welcome. And joining him are our distinguished panelists. Put your hands together for Mridu Gupta, CEO, Capit India. Dr. Pattatheyil Arun, CEO and Senior Consultant, Head and Neck Surgery, TMC, Kolkata. Dr. Garvit Chitkara, Associate Director, Breast Surgical Oncology and Oncoplasty, Nanavati Max Super Speciality Hospital. Dr. Boman Nariman Dhabhar, Director, and Medical Oncology, Fortis Hospital, Mulund, and Senior Oncologist, Breach Candy Hospital. Honored to have all of you take out your precious time to be with us. Honored to also have Anand Narasimhan all the way from Delhi.
Thank you, Mugdha. Namaste, Jai Hind, everybody. Thank you very much. And thank you to all the doctors. They've been a little patient. Dr. Nariman's been getting a little anxious because he's got OPD. So, you know, priority is always patience. So we get this conversation going. But first I have to say a heartfelt thank you to Federal Bank. Because this partnership with Sanjeevani was born, and I've been there since its inception with COVID. And it moved into cancer. And it's been a phenomenal partnership, and Tata Trust has just added so much more energy in this fight against cancer. I think one of the biggest challenges that all of us face is this entire demon of that we call cancer, because it can surface at any part of our body. So we can't even count the number of bones that we have, even though we know the exact number, we can't tell you. But multiply times 2, that's the number of cancers that we can have. In my limited knowledge and understanding, that's what I see. Here's the thing. I want to ask you a few questions. How many of us are above 40 years old here? Right? Now let's see the number of hands. Docs, okay? How many of us went for a full medical checkup, including a test or a screening for cancer in the last 6 months? How many of us, if there was screening right outside, will actually walk across and say, sign me up, I want to get screened? I said, they're doing it for effect. No, but good. But you see the change, sir? You see the change in the number of hands, which says we are above 40. but they've not gone for a screening, they've not gone for a full health checkup. So let's start from there, Dr. Nariman. Why?
It's a very good question. The reasons are different in different parts of in India, I would say. In rural areas, it is mainly awareness. I don't think so there is really great awareness. Now, what does awareness help us? Primary cancer prevention also. What is primary cancer prevention? That is what Dr. Advani says, that before the cancer can strike you, you do things. That is basically primary cancer prevention. So this awareness is very, very low in rural areas. And I think so even in urban areas also to some extent. And secondary prevention is what we are all talking about, screening. So where a person may be affected and you want to detect the disease earlier. So let us make these two things. Of course, awareness helps in both primary and secondary cancer prevention. So here, in the rural areas, it is the awareness which is the major thing. In urban areas and in rural areas, here, in cities, what we see is, I think so, mainly an ostrich attitude. That fear, what Vidya told us, that fear that if I get cancer, what is it? So to some extent, awareness is also linked with that. So if you are aware that early detection and all those things, then it will make a big difference in screening programs, in primary prevention, in both. So it is the awareness which is the backbone, I feel. This is there. The ostrich attitude in this, the time not available and, trying to sacrifice your time for others. Those are the things which we see in cities more.
True, but Dr. Arun, there is also this thought process where they say, why fix if it ain't broken? If my body is working, if my body is functioning, why do I want this entire tension? Why do I want to know? Does that happen?
No, there is an obvious benefit in knowing early. So we are talking about screening today. And that is when you think or you assume you are perfectly healthy and you go for an examination. And if something is picked up very early, the possibility that you're going to beat the disease is higher. So I think I'll go back to the first question. Why do you even worry about going to a doctor? It is just like a cigarette packet which says cigarette smoking is injurious to health. It has been there for ages. Have you asked a smoker, have you read that? It's not just information. It's how you internalize that information which is also important. Look at the gutka packet which is available 5 rupees. There are gory images of people with fungating tumors coming out of the mouth. But does that deter anybody from... People believe that this is not meant for me. This is meant for someone else.
Yeah, this won't happen to me.
It won't happen to me.
What's inside is meant for me, but the outside cover is not for me. Yeah,
exactly that. And so I think that is where we need to... Awareness is not only for rural people. Awareness is also for educated, sane people like sitting here and talking here in this small audience. Is to say that I could be one of them. And if at all I am one of them, why not get it early and get myself treated?
Let me ask you this. Is this also not just about awareness, but also saying that, all right, I don't want to know. If I have it, I don't want to know. I want to manage till it comes to a point where I have to address it. Does that happen? And is that the reason why screening doesn't happen? And the other thing is we are focusing on oral cancer and breast cancer, but screening also is limited, isn't it? It cannot identify all possible types of cancer, and it's not cheap. It's a little expensive. And how somebody reads a screen or a report can also be different. Now, I've asked you a lot of questions. I've asked you a lot of questions, but these are things that are all coming to my mind. And it comes to anybody, so I'm just putting that out.
So let's start from the first one. Yes, everywhere, urban and rural, especially women, they believe ignorance is bliss. If I don't know, I don't have to do anything about it. And in India, we have this thing ki koi buri baat mat karo, wo ho jayegi. Let's not talk about it. So even if you go and start talking about cancer, they don't want to hear. On Women's Day, if we have cancer talks, people actually say that it's a happy day. Why do you want to talk about cancer prevention? So it's difficult to create awareness that actually penetrates. Like Doc was saying, they have to internalize it, which they don't do. Now, I'm going to give you an example. For cervical, you have a self-sampling kit now to do a cervical cancer screening. And that was given to corporates, about 16 corporates around the country. The corporates were sponsoring it for the women in their organization. It's available at your office. You can take it, do a self-sample, hand it over. 3.5% women undertook screening. They didn't want to be screened even if you bring it to their doorstep. So what was the reason for this? Right, then we came in later and we said, okay, let's do awareness. We will do a proper awareness campaign within the organization, do a behavioral change campaign. It went up to 30%. That's just 30% women even when you have all the information you need. So ask yourselves, why would you not do the screening? Science says that less than 5% people actually take action for their benefit. How many of us have said we'll go for a walk from tomorrow? And I'm going to start my diet next week for sure. We do it, right? 1st of January, we are all going to join the gym. How many of us actually do it? There is this behavior of not prioritizing yourself. The fear of knowing what is going to come, I'm fine, I can take care of myself. And that we see, it's not just urban, it's not just rural, it's urban also. So it's across the board. People don't want to know.
There's a post-it on the wall, you know, it says, I'm going to start my diet from tomorrow. And I see it every day. So that's what happens.
It's still going to start tomorrow.
That's what, no, so you look at it every day and I'm going to start it tomorrow. So that's what I'm going to start. I'll go to the gym tomorrow. I'll go to the gym tomorrow. So that tomorrow never comes.
And you know the gym's going to be good for you, right? If you get started. Why do we do it?
Nahi hota yaar. Sleep, late night, I had to catch up on my sleep. Sleep is important, you see, more than workout, sleep is important.
So exactly,
and
so
then
my
one
work
day,
is more important than going to get these screens. So it's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
Prioritization.
Here at least you know that doing these things are going to help you. You know, being fit and all these things, you know. But in malignancies, what I have seen is people don't know also the benefit of screening. And unless this is told to them, like lung cancer screening, you know, proper lung low-dose CT scan, it is believed that they decrease the mortality by 20%. The mortality of those people who have been screened by low dose. Now that is much more than our chemotherapy drugs can do. So this type of, you know, information, is it there with anybody? I don't think so. Even regular people would have. By cervical cancer screening, the mortality goes down by 60%, much more than anything. So these are some things, you know, which should be taught and should be told clearly.
Breast cancer awareness
then that awareness
will
make a difference.
True. I'm just going to ask Dr. Garvit. Breast cancer awareness is quite high. But when patients come to you for a regular checkup and say, all right, do you get resistance? Because a lot of them would also say, I don't want this anxiety, boss. I don't want this stress and I don't want this anxiety. So I don't want to know. Is that the biggest block?
So there are, you know, when you're talking about my patients, there's a group which will be, who's aware and would want to take action on it. But that's a very small group, like she put it. It's less than 5% people who would really want to do something about it. Then there is a group which is aware, is scared because if I do the screening, something might come up and I might have to land up in this OPD. And then there's a group who would want to meet and would call and say, can you come and see me somewhere else other than the cancer OPD? So, you know, what I'm trying to say is, look, awareness, as you correctly put, awareness is maximum in the breast cancer group, in the breast cancer awareness, this thing. But when we are talking about awareness, there is a lot of misinformation also which is there. When we tell them that, look, you know, and I'm talking about educated women who would come to the OPD and there's a 6-centimeter lump which is there in the breast. 6 centimeters is a pretty huge lump to have. It's a tennis ball size lump. And I asked them, how is it possible that you're an educated woman, you've seen this, and this is not an organ which is hidden inside. It's, you're seeing it every time you bathe and you're not able to pick this up. It's like, I didn't know this was cancer because it wasn't paining. This is the basic this thing that has been put in all the campaigns, that a painless lump is more likely to be cancer than a painful one.
Well, so, let's elaborate on this, everybody. I'll come to the right also.
Just like you said, you know, even an ulcer in the mouth, till the time you have pain, people would tend to ignore it. And somehow people have a feeling that if it's not painful, it's not cancer, and that's absolutely false. Yeah, early cancers do not have pain. Only when they start invading the nerves, when they become big, that they start. So pain is an important symptom which people somehow, at the subconscious, it alerts them that something is going wrong in your body. Till you get pain, you ignore it.
But pain is a function of the nervous system. But you say that if it's not paining and you have a lump or if you have something, it's far more indicative that something serious is happening than the pain itself.
Because a lot of times when something is paining, it's more likely to bring the patient to me, because there is pain and that pain needs to be addressed today and it is causing a problem with her work or his work or anything. But when it is painless, we tend to put it later, after Ganesh Chaturthi, after Diwali, after Eid, after my bachchu ka exam, or after my husband or wife ka promotion or something or the other. So it's the pain, this painless thing which is causing more delays than anything else.
Anything else? Yes, doctor? You think?
What he said is absolutely. When I was a registrar in Sion Hospital where I used to work, in the OPDs or in my night calls, at least every OPD or every night call I used to get 4 or 5 young guys with a chest pain. So they think that's a cardiac issue. They knew the chest pain means cardiac. Here people don't know that. So that cardiac awareness is so much high. Why not in oncology? That awareness was there. In Sion Hospital, you get so many people from the Dharavi areas. And there, at least each and every time I used to get some chest pain and we would say, ECG is normal. So it is just that awareness what is still.
No,
so
but a lot of times, even if you're aware, it's
so
there.
They used to come here because they knew the chest
like that lady, he said, the lump is there, it's not paining, so why should I? Something's happening in my mouth, I may feel, theek hai, chala jayega. Or after some time, the body finds its own coping mechanism. So let's just ignore it and let it be there. Now, how do you transcend that and tell them, hello, you got to go get screened? Do it. Even if there is no lump, you should get a screening done or a mammogram done. How can we do that?
Don't we get regular checkups done for sugar? We go and get sugar checks done, your blood test. You go and get your blood pressure done. You know that you could have high or low blood pressure. Getting a cancer screening done should be the same way, that you get it done anyway. Like the doctors were saying, there's no obvious symptom for cancer other than a lump or something which you are aware of. We say that you need to be aware. Aware of what? Do you know what you have to be aware of? If you have an unnatural bowel change in your body, that could be cancer. My mother was admitted to a hospital with diarrhea. She used to constantly get diarrhea. So I lost my mother to lung cancer, which is when I started CAPIT. And CAPIT literally stands for Cancer Awareness, Prevention and Early Detection. She went into hospital with diarrhea because she used to keep getting it regularly. We would give her medicine, she'd be fine, 2 days later again. And she went in and she was detected with lung cancer. And we lost her a year later, but she constantly said that I only had diarrhea. So do you know what you should be aware of? All the symptoms, the early symptoms for cancer look like normal symptoms. They're not something that's going to trigger alarm unless you know that I should get them checked anyway. No one's saying it's cancer. We're just saying see a doctor. See a doctor regularly. Any of these symptoms could be cancer. Any change in your identification mark on your body, you fill on your passport, no identification mark, that mark should identify you all your life. If that mark changes anywhere on your body, you should see a doctor. It's as simple as that. And there are a few very standard awareness models that you should be aware of. Someone has to tell you this, and it's not something that, I can talk here and you're going to remember. No, it needs to be multi-pronged. What have we done for smoking? Every time you see a movie, you'll see Mukesh ke phepade. Oh, he's squeezing all that tar out of his phepade. Every time you pick up a cigarette box, you will have it written. You watch a movie, it says smoking kills. It's multi-pronged, so you remember it. And that's what we need to do for cancer. No one's going to go and get screened just because we say so.
The classic explanation is, ek din to marna hi hai, to chalo thoda mauj karke marenge. Kya 5-7 saal? Mera ek dost tha. Moment you ask somebody, boss, dude, you're smoking 2 packets a day, 1 packet, 2 packets. What is going on? Yaar, my friend didn't even smoke. वो मर गया, दौड़ने के लिए निकला था, लुढ़क गया. मैं तो अभी जिंदा हूँ. So I'll continue to live like this. See, this is an attitude which is also somewhere reflective of denial. So, yeah.
So for that kind of an attitude, there has to be an understanding of risk factors. So smoking is a risk factor, it's not a cause. हर आदमी जो स्मोक कर रहा है उसको कैंसर नहीं होने वाला है, उसी तरह हर आदमी जो स्मोक नहीं कर रहा है उसको कैंसर नहीं होगा इसकी भी गारंटी नहीं है. So that has to be understood. That is also part of awareness. And we were talking about screening. Screening is for healthy people. So it's not about that 6-centimeter lump or the ulcer that came and then they went for screening. That was diagnosis. You got a lump and you wanted diagnosed what it is. Screening is for healthy population who believes that they are absolutely okay, which is where screening is effective. If you do diagnosis, this is just early diagnosis or even delayed diagnosis in a 6-centimeter lump. So when we are talking about, when the awareness is multi-pronged and when it is brought on in multiple fashions, like in movies, like Mukesh, like so many other things, it gets so inculcated into us that the child in the house also knows that this is wrong. And when the friend of yours or friend of mine who wants to smoke in front of my children or his children should feel a little ashamed that what if he also or she also picks up the cigarette. That is where awareness needs to reach. And that is what we, as Sanjeevani, Federal Bank and News 18 Network, this is where you guys need to head into through such depth of society that everything is open, the awareness is available, and it is available at every strata of society. It is unfair to believe that it's only rural population that does not know. It is as bad in the urban population. Yeah. It is as bad in the educated population.
Yes, Doctor.
And there is a stigma with cancer which has not gone with education. It has not gone with sort of the message going out into mass media. So many a times in families, when they bring in a patient with a mat boliye, you don't tell them. And I think there is still a hesitation in telling the larger family about. So if you remember, our hospital is not called Tata Cancer Center, it's called Tata Medical
Center, TMC.
So that is the issue, because the word cancer still carries that stigma with it. Somehow we have to debunk it. And one of the ways is, we saw Vidya Balan here today, and celebrities coming out openly with their diagnosis. I fought it. There's nothing more to it. I screen. So go ahead. So this message has to go out.
The survivors, the fighters, when they speak, it encourages. But, Dr. Arun, I want to ask you this. A lot of times if there's a lump, they'll say, go for a biopsy. Now, although Dr. Advani is still here, he said that it doesn't spread the cancer, but the thought process of biopsy accelerates it. The cells start accelerating. So a lot of people think, so is that true, false?
Yeah. So how I explain is that you see, आप बाहर जाते हो and suddenly it rains, and you think, अगर मैं छाता लाता ना, तो आज बारिश नहीं होती. So a cancer which is set to grow, which is on a growth trajectory, is something called a sigmoid curve. Like it starts slowly and then it rapidly grows. Usually clinical symptoms start on the growth phase, and you take a biopsy at that point of time. So I don't blame people. So they see growth at a time when it is set to grow, and you take the biopsy at that point.
They said because the needle suddenly accelerates it.
Nothing.
I'm seriously telling you, this is all, you are doctors, I am a layman, sir. This is what the thought process is. The moment you pinch that lump, you just suddenly trigger a mechanism in your brain, in your body, and that it just accelerates.
So Anand, that is the answer. If I had taken an umbrella with me, it wouldn't have rained.
But completely wrong. I mean,
wrong, right?
Yeah, it's debunked. It's a myth.
It's a myth.
Look, so if any time a biopsy is done, say for a breast lump, I do a biopsy today, there's going to be a little bit of swelling, a little bit of bleeding, which is going to be there. That's not the tumor increasing. It's body's response. It's inflammatory response towards a trauma that you gave to the tumor or to the body. It's not the tumor increasing. And biopsy is so important that it is going to give me so much information that if I don't do it, I'm not going to be able to start treating you, even medico-legally. So
not just diagnosis, even now treatment is decided with doing sort of
what
markers
kind of
and
prognostic and
Absolutely. So I am a strong holder of awareness. Why I feel that what he said is absolutely true. We can go one step further. It can be in the syllabus of our students about, little bit of oncology, little of what is the role of prevention. Instead of studying, history about 200 years back, what had happened, why not put it in the syllabus so that everybody is aware that what are the advantages in our syllabus. In when to put it, I don't know, of course. So it could be something like the students only know, so they will tell their parents, it's time that you also go for a screening. And as he said, you won't smoke in front of them because they know, what is it? So it may be in the syllabus, and then where it should start from.
There's another problem, Doc, and Mriduji, please also weigh in on this, that if I take the same report to 3 different doctors, they give you 3 different opinions. And there is this whole inherent confirmation bias. You will lean to the person who gives you the closest to what you want to hear. Correct? So how do I mitigate that?
Doesn't this happen with the lawyers?
So how do I do that? And, you know, not experience with cancer detection or screening, but basic treatment. You know, you go to a big hospital. I've got nothing against any big hospital chain, please. But the perception is, वो ज़बरदस्ती आपसे बिल निकलवाएंगे, कुछ तो आपसे बोलेंगे, and it will only add to your stress and trauma. क्यों जा रहे हो वहाँ screening कराने? मत जाओ. Don't take it to that person. Oh, this doctor said this, that doctor said this. This doctor is the one you should go to. How do I deal with that? Because that itself is also a block. Because if I get a screening done, I have to get a medical opinion, right? Now, how do I trust that's the right one?
That's a very difficult question to ask a doctor only. But I'll say 99% of the doctors will do everything in good faith. It's in any other profession, it will be like that. I don't think so. Why doctors are only told like that? You hear about lawyers, you hear about judges, you hear about politicians, you hear about everything, everywhere there will be. So in doctors, in fact, they are trained to work in such a manner that they have gone through all these things for 15 to 20 years before they are professionals. And they have gone through toughest of the circumstances. If I had to do a casualty duty in Sion Hospital where I worked, there would be some 50 admissions, 60 admissions. So we didn't sleep for a single minute also in the night. So after all this hard work, I don't think so anybody is going to give a false advice. What is in their thought, they will tell you. It's just interpreted by the other person wrongly. That he said, yeah. and the changes will be very minor, you know. It may be very minor, but for the person who wants to hear, he wants to hear what benefits him. Like he does not want chemotherapy, so he will say, "Arey, this doctor is telling me to take chemotherapy," because he doesn't want to take chemo, the patient.
No, but so how do I deal with this, doctor? Because I'm not taking a cancer example. Let me say a personal example. So somebody in my family broke their hand. Okay, so there was a fracture of the bone inside the elbow. We went to the X-ray, the same X-ray. We went to one doctor. He said, "Abhi, immediately admit, OT, operation, 6 months it's going to take because 6 weeks cast. We have to reset the bone, open it up, and it's going to take. And uske baad haath pura khulega ki nahi, pata nahi, and all of that." We went to another doctor. I said, "All right, it's going to take 30 seconds. I'll reset the bone, put it in its place because it's just dislocated. It's not fractured. I'm going to set it, and within 2 weeks, the person will be all right. Only thing is there'll be pain when we reset it. So what do you want to do?" And it's 2 hospitals within 3 kilometers of each other. So obviously, you know, the latter was opted for, and the person healed in 2 weeks. Now, how do I trust the system? So it's my personal experience. So now, and that's a broken bone which will heal, right? In this case, it's cancer.
So here, every individual...
So how do I trust the system?
Every individual is a different person. You are not treating, you are not repairing a car. That you change the carburetor and it will be done. So 1 + 1 is 1. 1 + 1 is 2, sorry, in maths. This is medicine. So everybody else has got their own thinking process, what they have seen through their lives, through their experience, they will tell you that. Most of the time, I can tell you this in the best interest of the patient, they tell. But it is interpreted in a different manner. This is your interpretation.
No, in screening also markers, no doctor. So if I look at markers, you would look at the marker and say, "Listen, alter your lifestyle and let's look at it after 6 months." Somebody else may look at this marker, "Hey, I think you may have something." God, फिर नींद उड़ गई, tension, stress, and you know, it starts a whole new cycle with this. So I'm asking, am I asking the right question or not? Is this not a human experience? Agree with me, disagree with me? No hands up. People don't. Nobody's agreeing with me.
No, the question is right, but please understand the limitations are not just because of the difference in opinion, could be because of the grey areas present within the literature itself. So if, for example, a stage 1 breast cancer of a certain type comes to me, I would be advising, okay, because this looks like a smaller tumor, breast size is good, I'm going to advise a breast conservation surgery. Someone sees a medical oncologist, sees sir, and Sir feels that this is probably something that requires chemo first, and then that's what the guidelines say, and then go for surgery. Both of us are correct. The only problem was that both of us did not sit on the same table before we spoke to the patient. And hence the newer hospitals and the better hospitals have brought in the concept of MDT, which is multidisciplinary team discussions, where literature and the patient's problems are discussed for the best outcomes for the patient. And all these difference of opinions are not shown to the patient, are discussed in a closed room, and then an opinion is given to the patient, which is an MDT opinion, where the patient can follow up properly.
I think
there's also fight about which screening is better.
I think at a time
peer-reviewed hai ki nahi,
doctors were considered to be like, kisi ke paas gaya, he would give you the best and the fairest answer, and you trust him completely, surrender yourself to your family doctor, and you are done. But when you look at cancer, the way the disease is, we still don't know much about it. Even though we claim to be specialists, we claim to be experts sitting here, there is a lot of knowledge gaps in cancer. A stage 1 cancer in you may be very different from a stage 1 cancer in me. So obviously you'll have to treat it like a science, where this is an evolving science, a developing science. As science develops, what was valid or relevant 5 years back may not be relevant today. So the key thing is the specialist whom you go to, we should be updated. We should be aware of protocols. It's a science, and every day new literature comes in, new science comes in, and you assimilate that. And you base your decisions on whatever knowledge is available currently at that point of time. So there may be multiple protocols. They may be equally effective. Or there may be some which would be specific for some patients. For example, if you are comorbid, you cannot take the treatment which is prescribed, then I will have to alter it according to you. So I have to treat you as a human rather than you as a stage 1 or a stage 2 cancer. And that's where many of the opinions vary between people. There may be multiple, as you say, there are many ways to skin a cat, and they may all be right. But if it's an intelligent patient who seeks answers, you will have to don the coat of a scientist, tell him this is the evidence and this is what I'm going to do.
Oh, the biggest challenge is also Google and AI. No, nothing against, it's just that the amount of information out there, overnight or within 48 hours.
You have a cold or you could have cancer. You'll have everything there. But having said all of that, cancer for one still has some guidelines. There is still some structure for cancer. If a doctor has prescribed something to you, take it to another hospital, they know that you're going to show this. In India, to hum bhindi sabzi khareedne mein also we take 2-3 opinion. So health ke liye to we definitely take a second opinion. Everybody knows that. And they put it on paper and give it to you. So you can take it to another hospital and say, this has been suggested, what do you say?
But the sad part is they go for the one which is most comfortable for them.
They'll go for what is cheaper or what fits them better. But there are medical legal issues also involved. So everybody does their best and they do it as per protocol. So you can be rest assured that what you're getting is as per guidelines somewhere. There is a guideline for this. You may choose to do something else, but so again, I give my mom's example. When we went in, the hospital did everything. They did an X-ray for her, they did blood tests, and she had diarrhea. So, she was definitely 72 years old. They are ripping me off. Ye to bade hospital karte hi hain. Dekho sare test karayenge. That typical thing she did. But they knew what they were doing, right? They were suspecting that cough and the diarrhea, and they checked her. And sure enough, she had lung cancer. So trust. Somewhere we have to build trust in the health system. And we have to know that for cancer, there are global guidelines. Everybody is following those guidelines as they are growing and they are evolving. We are all doing our best.
All right, we're going to wind up. So let's give each person, about each of the doctors and the medical experts here, 30 seconds to convince all of us why we must time nikale, screen kare. Starting with you. You have to convince all of us क्यों time निकालना है और क्यों screen करना है. क्यों screening करना है. Time निकालना.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need the monitors up here because we can't hear each other.
To detect the cancer at an early stage. If it is at an early stage, you are cured of your cancer by only one single modality, like surgery. Suppose breast, surgery karke it's out. If this disease goes to an advanced stage, you require multi-modality treatment. Not only chemotherapy, you get immunotherapy, you get surgery, you get radiation, and so on and so forth. So early detection, cure, plus the treatment that you receive is minimal.
So, yeah. So, पहले पकड़ लिया तो सस्ते में निपट जाओगे. Simple, right, ma'am?
So I want to share, we lose one woman every 8 minutes to cervical cancer. In 1 hour, we lose 8 women. We have been sitting here for the last 2.5 hours. Do you know how many women we've lost around the country? You need to go and be screened.
Well, we are women of almost 50% of the population. So gender parity, you can't lose it to cervical cancer. So those numbers have to be up. So that's another reason why we need to do screening. Doctor.
Cancer is not a rare disease. In the coming years, it's going to be one of the predominant diseases in our community. Gone are the times when tuberculosis or cholera or infectious diseases used to be a scourge. It's going to be cancer. 1 in 9 people is what the WHO says by 2030. So be alert to the fact, be aware of that fact, and get yourself screened. Treat early, less morbidity, less cost, live longer, live healthier. Screen yourself.
The silent pandemic, the biggest killer of all across the world is cancer. And it's not just one. Like I said, it's twice the number of bones in our body at the moment. Known ones. Yes.
So since it's a media house and a bank, I'm going to talk numbers. So the most common stage in which breast cancer is diagnosed in a public sector hospital is 3, and 60% of people are diagnosed in locally advanced breast cancer. The survival is 60 to 70%, 5-year survival. We move on to a private sector hospital where the awareness is a little better because higher socioeconomic status people are coming. The survival moves up to about 80 to 85% in breast cancer. I'm not talking about any other cancers. Another hospital that I happen to serve in the US, and the survival, the most common diagnosis was in stage 1. The survival was 98%. That population is being pushed to screen by the government because they understand the financial implications of not screening are worse. Hence, look at the numbers, 60%, 80% or 98%. What would you want for yourself?
Oh, fantastic. Very convincing. Finally, 10 years ago, how many people in your family, in your friends, near and dear ones, did you think or did you hear that they had cancer? Today, all of us know somebody who's either had cancer, has battled it, or succumbed to it. Right or wrong? So it's creeping up. It's all around us. Now, do we want to be part of that statistic, or do we want to be part of the statistic that bucked it or nipped it in the bud? So we leave it at that. Thank you very, very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to all of you. Well, you heard it right from the experts. Time निकालें, screen करें, second opinion ले लें, पर अपनी journey ज़रूर शुरू करें if you do see symptoms that need to be addressed. All right, ladies and gentlemen, distance does not dim dedication. Hence, joining us live at the National Sanjeevani Convention is Dr. Sewanti Limaye, Director Medical and Precision Oncology at Sir H. in Reliance Foundation Hospital. Welcome, Doc. We just saw your lovely video with Vidya as well. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's a true honor to be a part of such remarkable initiative.
Well, it's our pleasure, Dr. Limaye. You have been associated with Sanjeevani United Against Cancer since its very beginning. Tell us about the impact that Sanjeevani has created when it comes to actually saving lives, and what has your experience been with the entire movement?
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak. As far as Sanjeevani United Against Cancer is concerned, it's a remarkable and unique initiative. I'm very proud that I'm a part of this initiative right from its inception, that I could lend my services to project this initiative forward, because I really feel this is one special initiative in the country. Now, through Sanjeevani United Against Cancer and through its slogan, Time Nikaalein, Screen Karein, you all have put the cause of cancer screening and early detection really front and center stage. And that is what is needed. In a country of 1.5 billion population, cancer screening is not owned by anyone. And what Sanjeevani United Against Cancer has done is it has brought this topic in the center of conversation. Everybody today is aware, because of this initiative, that cancer screening is mandatory. Cancer screening should be pivotal. Cancer screening should be owned by the masses, and that's what Sanjeevani United Against Cancer has done. I am proud to be part of this initiative, and I congratulate you for this remarkable work. Now, talking about the screening programs that we are involved in at Sir H.N. Reliance Foundation Hospital, our chairperson, Srimati Neeta Mukesh Ambani, our CEO, Dr. Mrs. Tarang Gyanchandani have all been very supportive. We have run a 1,000-patient high-risk cancer screening for lung cancer. This effort is funded by Federal Hormis Memorial Foundation and is supported by News 18 Network, and I'm really grateful for this support. What is happening through this initiative is we are pre-screening subjects and figuring out who all are at high risk for lung cancer. And such 1,000 subjects were screened for lung cancer with low-dose CT scan and liquid biopsy. The liquid biopsy part is being funded by Tata Cancer Genetics. And the liquid biopsy includes ctDNA and circulating tumor cells in blood. With the help of both these screening interventions, we are trying to figure out the subjects who are at high risk for lung cancer and bring lung cancer screening to center stage where it is non-existent. This project has been honored and selected for presentation at WCLC, World Conference in Lung Cancer. This is in Paris in September 2025. The other program that we are involved in Sir H.N. Reliance Foundation Hospital is the SEVA program, which is also supported by Reliance Foundation and Mrs. Ambani. And this is a commitment to screen 50,000 women for cervix and breast cancer. And out of the 50,000, 27,000 women have already been screened. Dr. Swati Jha is leading the outreach program. And I'm also participating in those who have been detected as high risk. These high risk subjects are they then come in for proper screening, physical screening at our center. This is being supported by the Sarthi initiative within the hospital, which is a cancer navigation initiative led by me. And here all the patients who are high risk get screened with specific tests, diagnostic tests that are performed within the hospital, and those that are already detected to have cancer, we have detected 30 cases already, are all getting free treatment under the SEVA program at the hospital. So this is the SEVA program, which is supported by Sarthi. It is playing out at our hospital. It's a unique program. And then we have, under the same initiative, SEVA initiative, we have also vaccinated 10,000 girls. We are vouched to vaccinate 10,000 girls between ages 9 and 16 with the HPV cancer vaccine. And this is to prevent cervix cancer. As you know, our Honorable Prime Minister has also taken forward an initiative where they have promised free vaccination for cervix cancer for young girls. This is an initiative to prevent cervix cancer, and they are also participating in early cervix cancer detection. We are contributing to this message by fostering 10,000 cervix cancer vaccine under the SEVA program. So a lot of work happening in cancer screening and cancer early detection through the Reliance Foundation, through the Reliance Foundation Hospital, and also the support that has come through the Federal Hormis Memorial Foundation and all the support that has happened through News 18. So really fortunate to be a part of these initiatives, and really, really grateful to be included, to lend my voice, and all the best and good luck to Sanjeevani United Against Cancer. They are doing, as I said, remarkable work, and all the more power to this initiative. Thank you for having me.
Well, Dr. Limaye, thank you for sharing with us that crucial message and joining us on the National Sanjeevani Convention and reaching global heights. It is indeed a very proud moment for us to know that Sanjeevani has helped launch a lung cancer screening program, the findings of which, as Doc mentioned, will be at the World Conference on Lung Cancer in 2025. With that, it's a big round of applause and a huge win. All right. Saving lives is indeed the core mission of Sanjeevani, knowing well that human spirit is stronger than anything that can happen to it. Let us explore breakthroughs in early detection now and diagnosis, which are reshaping the future of cancer care in this special conversation titled Innovations That Save Lives. To moderate this session, I'd like to welcome back on stage Anand. And as Anand comes here, it's now also to call our panelists. Join me in welcoming Dr. Geetha Manjunath, CEO and founder, Nirmay Health Analytics. Dr. Narayana Subramaniam, lead consultant, head and neck oncology, Aster International Institute of Oncology. Jose Peter, co-founder and CEO, Arogya Finance. And Sneha Datar, director, Datar Cancer Genetics. Anand, you took everybody out. I was almost worried. Where did everyone go? Welcome, welcome, ladies. Welcome, gentlemen. Over to you.
Thank you, Mugdha. So Mugdha and Gaurav are also old friends from 2007, 2008. I know them. They got a lovely son. So lovely. So it's all a lot of friends and family catching up. These are people who are innovating, viewer, and to our audience here. And they're innovating new methods of screening, testing, all forms of cancer, different forms of cancer. Some of them are looking at stem cell research. Others are looking at how do I finance and afford and make screening more affordable. So the huddle outside was to just understand how we're going to approach this session so that we take the maximum out of it. So also I have to say there is a very personal connection with Dr. Narayana Subramaniam. His father is the illustrious Dr. L. Subramaniam. So, and Dr. L. Subramaniam and Kavita ji have been regular guests and also presence at the Network 18 platforms. And of course, we don't need any introduction to what they've been able to achieve. Along with being a fantastic oncologist, he's also a vocalist. So, you know, there are other vocalists at a Federal Bank you need to connect, and a fantastic violinist. So we'll get to that conversation later, but first on innovation. So what is it that you're doing, Dr. Narayana?
So I basically work in early detection. So what we understood after working with patients, especially from an underprivileged sector, is that even when there's suspicion of cancer, there's so many hurdles to jump through to establish a diagnosis of cancer. So before we start any treatment, we have to know what kind of cancer, what the stage is, and what the appropriate treatment is. So when we used to go out on these camps, we used to reach out to patients. We just used to tell them, okay, it looks like you have cancer. We need a biopsy, we need a scan. Come back with us back to the city, take 2 days out of your lives, lose those wages, waste all that time, and then we'll tell you if you have cancer. So what we found is that
it also take all that stress.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the anxiety and stress, even if you take all of that
anxiety and stress, yeah.
It's a huge burden to the patient. And that's why we have 75% of patients coming with locally advanced cancers. So what we started on almost about 7 years ago was basically a platform for early detection. So right now, we take a biopsy, it goes off to a very sophisticated lab, it goes in formalin, it gets fixed, and then you have a pathologist who cuts it into pieces and looks at it. So we thought, why don't we use a cytology platform? We have great access to high quality imaging in all of our cell phones, for example. Why can't we come up with a low-cost platform to image these cancer cells and use automation and artificial intelligence to give us a certain level of accuracy as to whether it's cancer or not? So we've been building that out for a few years or so. We've got a good grant from the NIH, which thankfully still is not in doldrums in spite of all the political issues that are underway. And we're in the process of validating it. It has about 85% accuracy. So we are hopeful that we can actually place it in places where it will be of value and we can bring down that time to diagnosis from 2-3 days to literally 10 minutes. And we want an accuracy that's equivalent to a biopsy. So the idea is not to introduce a new technology, to reinvent the wheel, but to take a well-established way that we already identify cancer and to make it much more efficient and cheaper.
So, but it is still invasive. It's not.
It is. So we are looking at early detection. To be very clear, we are not screening. We are looking at patients who look like they have an early cancer and establishing a diagnosis much faster than a conventional.
So how do I do it in 10 minutes rather than in 48 hours plus?
Correct. And in the field. So the idea is you don't need to bring the patient into a hospital setting.
Lab and all of that.
You can do this literally even if you don't have, even a physical phone connection. Even if you have 3G or 4G, it would work in the field in a rural environment.
Yeah. How are you going to do that? I'll come to you as we circle around. How am I going to afford screening? And also those who are unbankable, don't have the monies. That's something that Joe's here as part of the Arogya Finance is going to talk about. But before that, sir, before I come to you, I'm just going to ask you, Nirama is also part of our partnership as we take this breast cancer detection and screening. Yours is a non-invasive technique. How is that possible? And how are you doing it?
Sure. Great to be on this platform. Congratulations to the Sanjeevani program for doing such a wonderful job of creating awareness in cancer. So at Niramai, we've developed a new method of detecting breast cancer where we measure temperature variations on the chest using a thermal sensor similar to like a camera. It's placed 3 feet from the person. We measure the temperature variations. The person turns left, right, so we measure the temperature variations around the 180 degrees, lateral and oblique views. And using artificial intelligence on temperature variations, we are able to accurately detect whether there's an abnormality or not and what is the probability that could be malignant. It's not a final diagnosis like doctor said, but it is a screening test. Because it is portable, we can take it anywhere and do the test and it is non-invasive, as I said, where no one sees or touches the person during the test. Because one of the main hurdles for breast cancer screening is that the experience of doing the test and removing clothes in front of others, etc. So we have a booth where the lady enters. She sits in front of the device and with this screening, the technician is outside, click, click, click. We actually are able to measure 4 lakh temperature points per person, analyze that and instantly generate a report. But of course, if it is a little bit boundary case or something suspicious, it goes to a doctor for a further diagnosis.
When you say temperature, so if it's a lump, now how you cannot determine whether it is benign or malignant? Or do they behave differently? If it's just fat deposits or if it's cancer cells, so how do we know?
Whenever there's a doubt, we
is
push.
The temperature different? Yeah.
So we attempt to do that as well. In fact, we don't have to wait for a lump, like we were discussing in the earlier, sessions, right? We need to do the screening every year, irrespective of whether there's a symptom, whether we have a risk factor or any of that. That is the ideal case, and this will be ideal for doing that. Preventive, if you will, or wellness screening every year. By chance, the person actually has a lump, which falls under diagnostic. Even there, we do have close to 90% accuracy in at least ruling out cases which may not need a biopsy, right? With the clinically proven accuracy, actually.
Right. But Dr. Geetha, just asking you again, how much time does this whole process take?
About 12 to 15 minutes, including the person going in and coming out, removing clothes, everything. 12 to 15 minutes. So if we go to the field, we can do like 50, 60 people in an 8 hours time and instant reporting.
What you're doing, Sneha ji, is very different.
Yes.
And you are getting right to the root of perhaps the DNA, the cell, or what triggers cancer in the system? Is that where you are trying to attack it at the source itself?
What we do is a CTC-based test. We basically look at circulating tumor cells in the bloodstream. And this test screens for over 35 types of cancers with a single blood draw, 15 ml blood. It's purely for asymptomatic individuals. That is the beauty of the test, because like we all heard that when there are no symptoms is when you must actually get tested to catch it that early. So that's how we screen, and it's complete. It's just a blood draw, so there's no radiation. There are no other, modalities that come into
So what
play.
does this do? It gives you a marker that...
No, it's just they look for CTCs. We look for cancer cells in the bloodstream. And I'm very happy to share that we are the only diagnostic company in India who have been granted the US FDA BDD for this technology.
Right.
It's a homegrown technology, and we have a breakthrough device designation from the
so
US
35
FDA.
different cancers it
Yes.
can sense across the
Yes,
body.
yes,
It can...
And we can also
Single
determine the
drop of blood.
location. Sorry?
Single drop of blood.
15 ml of blood.
15 ml of blood. No, that's not much. But, and how many days does it take, or how much time does it take?
About 10 to 12 days, because it's a tedious process. We need to harvest the cells, etc. So about 10 to 12 days.
So it tells me that, do I have cancer cells now?
Yes.
Or does it tell me that there are cancer cells building up and it could lead?
No, it tells you that there is some activity in the body right now which is alarming. So then you go further into investigating which organ, etc., etc. But it's an annual test. It's like
You're going to take it once in a year.
Yes.
Sir.
You
And,
take
and
it like any
if you're
other.
clear, then that means the probability of you getting this over the next...
for 1 year.
1
you
year.
wait for a year and do it again.
Do it
after a
again.
year,
How much
yeah.
does it cost?
About 14,000 for 35 cancers.
For 14,000 rupees.
Yes.
How do I afford this, Jose? Please tell me. You are the ones who are supposed to help us make it affordable. Co-founder and CEO of Arogya Finance. So please tell me, how do I do this? How do I make sure that every person here does not have to think about it and say, all right, I can do it. And perhaps those who can't, who are not in this room, who want to get it done, but can't afford it. Yeah.
Yeah, so as the name itself suggests, Arogya Finance is a dedicated healthcare finance company. Patient financing is what we do for a living, yeah, and nothing else. We use very unique methodologies, including a psychometric tool, to evaluate people's, we can credit underwrite using alternate methodologies so that people who are not part of that formal, credit system can also avail treatment. What we offer is a quick, collateral-free, most often interest-free monthly payment options for all kinds of disease conditions, including cancer. In cancer, we cover all areas: medication, screening, testing, gene tests, expensive tests we can do, surgeries, hospitalization, post-surgery recovery phases, palliative care, all of it we will cover. We are working with a large, partnering with pharmaceutical companies and hospitals. Our services have reached about 625 plus multi-speciality and cancer hospitals. We also work with 2,200 plus senior oncologists. Okay? So our services are available in all these areas where the patient requires that care.
That's a lot of exposure.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of risk.
Yeah.
So is this bad business sense, or is there something altruistic? And are you guys in the red all perennially, or you're okay? Are people availing of this facility? Because you are there to provide for those who need it the most and they don't know who to turn to. But do they have the integrity to come back and pay you back? So I want to ask you that.
Yeah, so, it took us some time to build confidence in doing what we do, okay? Took us years, I must say. And what we have realized over a period of time is that when you go out and help people who really deserve or require help, they don't forget you, yeah? So we have one of the best repayment history, yeah? We have the ability to, auto-approve loans of up to 15 lakh rupees, yeah,
wow,
in a matter of minutes, using just KYC and a patient prescription. The rest of it, our technology solution will do.
So are you guys talking to each other?
We already exchanged mail.
So I'm just asking, are you guys talking? Because how many tests can you conduct in a day?
Thousands. I mean, there's no limit.
So you got centers all across the country to.
No, we have a central lab in Nasik, which is about, we have 20,000
So
square
I'm just
feet
saying
of
that
lab.
if let's say in Thrissur in Kerala or Trichy in Tamil Nadu or in Nagpur, if these tests are conducted, they'll all have to go to your hub.
They all come to our Nasik lab.
Nasik. So that cost has to be borne.
Yes, but that is, we normally included in the...
It's all inclusive.
Unless it is really
if they
far
are doing
away.
a test which will tell a person in the next year whether they're going to have cancer or not, and it's 14,000 rupees.
We'll be happy to create payment options for them. Very happy.
So we are linking this, and this is happening here. Yeah. So that's one more.
What we also do, we
got to follow through on this. Okay, we got to make this happen.
What we also do is we also offer something called a price discovery mechanism. So what it means is every patient's ability to pay varies. High net worth individuals, medium, low, all of them. So we do a socio-economic evaluation, partnering with the pharmaceutical companies, of course. We do a socio-economic evaluation. Based on that, we will discover what their ability to pay is, and accordingly, that innovative, expensive medication will be priced based on that patient's payment capability.
Wow.
Just to give an example again, we work with a pharma for a multiple indication cancer drug, which normally costs about 40 lakh rupees for treatment in a year. Using our socio-economic evaluation, that drug becomes available for 11 lakh rupees. Instead of 40 lakh, it becomes available for 11 lakh.
Yeah, but that's not
rupees.
for everyone. It's based on the socio-economic evaluation.
But a significant number gets it. Significant number gets it.
So, but who underwrites? You underwrite that
We
cost?
underwrite that.
Wow.
And then that 11 lakh also is then made available in interest-free 12 monthly installments. So where is 40 lakh and where is 11 lakh
and that too on EMIs.
In interest-free 12 installments.
That's fantastic.
So that's,
big round of applause. That takes a lot of serious amount of commitment and also an appetite for risk because, but you're saying that your repayment levels are at one of the highest in the industry.
Touch wood, our losses are less than 1%.
No, fantastic. And that also talks about the integrity of the person who's availing of this and saying that those who help me, I'm not going to cheat them. But how much does your test cost?
Actually, we wanted to make it more affordable and accessible. So we have 3 types of products, actually. One which gives a detailed report with marking and with radiology signature and all. So in Apollo, HCG, Fortis and other places, this is available at 1,500 rupees. But the same thing, if you want to do instant triading, it is like 200 rupees per scan.
200 rupees?
Yeah. It's usually sponsored by somebody else. Right? No, it's free of cost for the end
What's
user.
your capacity today? In one day, how many people can you test?
We can test any number. With one unit, typically we see about 50 people being tested, if it's a screening camp mode, typically.
And how many units do you have or imaging,
We have hundreds. We do thousands of screenings every month, every day, it's happening. But we are a small team, so we are open to sponsorships. If you want to conduct, we can always partner and then do more, actually. We're working with government, and we actually do corporate screenings as well. In fact, Sanjeevani program has enabled so many thousands. I just checked, some 3,500 women benefited from your sponsorship, in many urban cities as well.
Let me ask you, Doc, what's the probability of someone having tobacco or consuming tobacco or something which is an olfactory or oral thing, and their probability of getting cancer? Is there a correlation there? 1. 2, when you identify this pre-detection, how much does your process cost and how long before you bring it to Bharat?
So that's a little bit of a tricky question. Like it was pointed out earlier before, not all tobacco users get cancer, and not only tobacco users get cancer. Tobacco and alcohol significantly increase the risk of oral cancer. But what we also see is about 20% of patients have no risk factors. So that is something that we are always talking about on platforms like this. So people are aware that an ulcer, a lump, may be cancerous even if you've never touched a cigarette, you've never chewed tobacco, you've never had alcohol. Another problem that we have in this country that we've also written about is that the age of onset in oral cancer is about 10 years younger than the West. We've done big studies with maybe 5,000 patients. When you compare North America, Australia, different parts of Asia, for whatever reason, patients in India get oral cancer 10 years sooner than they would in the West. Why exactly that happens is still a little bit of a mystery. It could be because of the additives that we put in along with the gutka. So it could be multiple carcinogens. It could be the prolonged exposure that starts from a younger age as opposed to smoking. Or it could also be environmental factors. We don't quite know. We're looking into that.
But you're saying that in India, there's a 10 years, people who get oral cancer
yes, so the
are
average
10 years
of,
younger.
Yes,
Actually,
so
breast cancer also has a similar statistics.
Yeah.
10 years younger than the rest of the world.
So the average age of onset when you look at the so-called developed world is 65 years of age. In India, it's 55 years of age. And this is over thousands of patients. It isn't a single hospital. It isn't a single unit. Why exactly this happens, we don't know exactly.
Is it diet? Is it environment? Is it what they're putting in their mouth?
So like I said, 80% is still tobacco, plus minus alcohol. The 20% also has absolutely no risk factors, right? So the message here is not for people to be scared, not for people to be afraid, but the idea is that you have to know your body, you have to understand when something is wrong, and you have to realize that it could be cancer. Get a simple evaluation. 9 times out of 10, it's not cancer, which is wonderful, but we have to think that it could be a cancer. The problem that we have in head and neck cancer is that everybody thinks it's something else. When there's a breast lump, everybody's first thought is cancer. For us, it's a dental problem, it's an infection, it's everything under the sun, but it's not cancer.
Cancer. It's not cancer. And how much does your test cost?
So, as of now, the device should cost less than about 2 lakhs. The current cost of a commercial slide scanner is about 35 lakhs plus, goes up to 3 crores. But we are looking at a model where we actually charge per test. So the idea is that we can make it affordable. The challenge that we have in India is nobody wants to pay for screening. So what we are looking at is basically partnering with the government, partnering with insurers, partnering with people who specialize in occupational health. So we can actually do a test for maybe 100, 200 rupees. So that's the range that we're looking for.
But can this device be manufactured in our country?
It is completely, everything is indigenous. So currently we are not at the place where we want to be in terms of accuracy. We have about 85% accuracy. So the grant that we have runs for another 4 years. We have to test it head-to-head with biopsy on another 600 patients perhaps. But the idea is to manufacture indigenously, just like Datar and other people have shown is very possible. And the idea is that in India we have economy of scale. So we are the oral cancer capital of the world. Unfortunately, we are the cancer capital of the world. So if we can aggregate all these resources, get these patients under one roof, we can definitely do it much more cheaply and efficient compared to other parts of the world.
Breast cancer, there's no link. Oral, okay, you're inserting something, there's something. But why are women in India 10 years younger more susceptible globally? Is there a cause?
No, the cause has not been figured out yet. Many epidemiological studies are happening. But yes, women even between 30 and 40 years are getting, in fact, the reason I started Niramai is because I lost a very close family member who was just 38 years, just because of breast cancer late detection, as we're saying. So a lot of women, even actually we have detected a 17-year-old with breast cancer with our test and confirmed with biopsy, and she's happy now living and all of that, right? So the exact reason is not clear, but it's important to do screening, and there's several reasons why people try to avoid doing screening, right? One, of course, is affordability, accessibility. Second is also the compression, and mammography is only applicable after 45 years, right? Usually because of what's called as dense tissue. So younger women who are more aware, they don't know what to do, what test to do, right? So we're kind of addressing all those women because the screening rate for mammography, as published by a recent paper by Tata Memorial, Dr. Badwesar as well, is 1.3% in India. That is 98.7% of women are detecting their cancer by hand. So we have to enable all those women to actually take this test by addressing the affordability, accessibility,
Okay, we got limited time. I have a few questions for Sneha ji, but let me ask you, Doc, what is the one thing that's going to make, let's start with the women in this room, it's going to make them and all the women that they are in touch with to push them to get themselves screened?
Stage 0, stage 1 detection. If we can do regular screening every year, we can stop deaths due to breast cancer.
At what age should they start the screening?
Our test can be done from 18 years to 80 years.
So you're saying 18 years to 8 years.
Every
so,
year.
Yeah, so
No
it's not
touch,
about
no
that you
see,
got to
no
wait
pain,
till
no
you're 30,
radiation.
35. You should just go ahead and screen from
Please.
the time.
Yeah.
From the 18 to 80. That's what
And
you're
if the
saying.
horse doesn't come to the water, we take the water to the horse.
Yeah, you
So
got to
we
take
take the device to the corporate, we take the device to the villages, and then we try
No,
to
I think, and as a network, we can do, and we will do what we can to take this message forward, that there are methods available where these can reach, and perhaps putting out more camps is something that can be done on ground, but on air also to show and to push this message. We'll try and do that. Sneha ji, I want to ask you 2-3 things. One is genetics. How much is genetics involved in this? Between the 90s and now, or the 70s, 80s and now, what's been consumed by the previous generation or what's been consumed by us today because of the health standards, because of what's been put into the foods, how much has that altered our genetics? Or, and does the body have this ability to course correct, to heal itself? If there is a course correction in our own lifestyle and in our food, when we are still in the metabolism stage and not in the catabolic stage as a person?
See, I think cancer, if it is genetic, I don't think any exterior factor can really change the inevitable. But what can be changed is lifestyle through our habits, stress management and other things which can definitely modify or, really manage it at a better level. Like both of us know someone who had cancer and that was because of stress. That was one of the major reasons for that person having cancer was stress. So, yes. So, I think those are the things that we can really change. Genetics per se is not in our hands. Inheritance of cancer genetically is not in our hands, unfortunately.
So, but in your study, and please weigh in on this, in your study, have you seen that if we course correct, the triggers, if you are able to address the triggers that could perhaps trigger cancer cells in our body, if you are able to course correct that?
You can, I think, course correct by, the only way to course correct is by early detection. Because what will you, even if you're course correcting, unless you found it, what are you going to do with it?
No, my question is, okay, stress causes cancer. If I detect that I've got cancer, I can't find out what is causing that, what's triggering that. How do I find what is triggering it?
So I think
maybe some food that I'm eating, some habit that I have, and if I change that.
So I think to answer your question, sorry.
No, we know of so many things that we consume that are carcinogenic, like having a bottle of water, plastic bottle. I was happy to see glass bottles here today. So these are simple things. We use a plastic bottle in the car, it heats itself, cool ho jata hai, फिर वही पानी हम पीते हैं.
Microplastics in our system.
So these are small things that we can really modify and not, at least consciously take in all that carcinogen that we can avoid.
Another thing is stress. What is triggering the stress in our system? Sometimes what we think is the one that's causing the stress and what's the real cause is different. But we're able to eliminate stress. It brings down the probability of our body responding in the form of a cancer. Really, it's just amazing the amount of studies that have been done on that. She's also mentioned it, yes.
I think even if you do have cancer, you stop the smoking, stop the alcohol, lose weight. All of these things increase your likelihood of beating the disease. It improves your general health and improves your chances significantly. So there's always a value to doing these things, whether or not you have a high genetic predisposition to cancer, whether or not you can affect the environmental pollution around you. There's still a value to doing all those things because it improves your general health and also increases the likelihood that you will be cured.
Yeah, but the damage is done between the space between the ears. No, this is where the whole damage is. So how do I address that damage?
I think the meditation and, pranayam is absolutely critical, I think, not just for cancer, but general health. That should be part of our regular practice for sure.
You said meditation, pranayam, the third thing is music.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's end with the musician and the midst, right?
Absolutely.
So I'm going to put you on the spot.
So I I'm the black sheep of my family. I have no choice.
But you're to see.
I'm happy being.
I owe it to Dr. Saab because he said you have to make my son sing. So I said I'll do that.
He wanted to embarrass me, but the only thing that I do in front of a live audience is I operate.
Just hold the mic closer.
So the only thing that I do in front of a live audience is I operate. I don't do anything else. But thank you very much.
But we're going to hold him on to this very, very soon. So you, your dad and Ambi have to perform together. So we're going to do that. So we'll see the musician in the oncologist also. He's being very, very, modest when he says that he's not good. You got to see his videos and what he's capable of. Thank you so much, but to everybody, thank you. Amazing,
you so
enlightening
much.
conversation.
Thank
And Jose, you're doing some phenomenal work, and we're going to get you busier. That's what we're going to do. Thank you so much for your service, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Standing, come forward. Thank you, Anand. Thank you to all our panelists. Well, most of these innovations remind us that you may not control all the events that happen to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by them. Before we proceed, a quick recap of what Sanjeevani has achieved so far and what has this journey been like. A short AV.
Cancer, a word that strikes fear and often leaves us silent. So much so that we hesitate to even talk about it,
let alone taking steps to save our lives and the lives of those we love. An attitude shift is possibly the biggest shift
that is critical in our current fight against cancer.
According to studies, 1 in 9 Indians will have to deal with this disease in their lifetime. In India, 70% of cancers are detected late, leading to higher mortality. But together, we have the power to reverse this trend.
Unfortunately, when cancer strikes, we feel alone. But it's important to remember that the fight against cancer doesn't start in medical facilities.
It starts in our minds.
Network 18, in collaboration with Federal Bank Hormis Memorial Foundation and Tata Trusts, launched Sanjeevani in 2023.
The goal? To raise awareness about early detection of cancer with regular screenings. But why?
70% of cancer cases in India are detected at a late stage, when treatment is harder and survival rates fall sharply.
On the other hand, studies have shown that early detection leads to better health outcomes.
We quickly realized that cancer spreads in the dark. And so, our multi-pronged campaign aimed to drag it into the light.
With a simple message, Time Nikaalein, screen Karein.
Through every story, every debate, every event, we urged people to go for regular cancer screening. We leveraged our network's reach, bringing together influential voices, policymakers, change agents, and used their weight to spread our message to every corner of the nation.
We joined voices with the renowned actress Vidya Balan.
Hi.
Vidya was the ideal role model to make Indians take note of cancer screening.
We partnered with premier healthcare facilities and private and public organizations to organize boot camps and awareness workshops to spread awareness on the cancers. We organized these workshops in small towns, corporate houses, as well as schools to prepare children right from an early age. It drove real behavior change. 30% increase in intent to get screened, 25% more people encouraging others to screen, a measurable shift from fear to familiarity, from silence to self-advocacy.
Breaking our silence around cancer is not just a personal choice.
It's a public health imperative.
Conversations can lead to awareness. Awareness can lead to action.
And action can save lives.
It's time for us to replace fear with a collective courage to make regular cancer screening a part of our daily lives. Sanjeevani. Time Nikaalein. Screen Karein.
Well, cancer is not just a healthcare issue, it's a workplace issue, it's a community issue, it's an economic issue. In the next panel, we will unravel how the corporate world is stepping up to create a healthier future. Moderating this session is Ekta Batra, Senior Editor, CNBC TV 18. And joining her is our esteemed panelist, Prashant Tandon, co-founder and CEO, Tata 1mg, and Pratima Reddy, country speaker, Merck India, MD, and Merck Specialities.
Well, good evening. We've discussed a lot about what the genetics are and what we should be doing from a medical standpoint. But from a corporate standpoint now, Prashant, I'm going to start with you. Tata 1mg provides a whole host of services on a digital side. So tell us what you are doing when it comes to oncology and prevention of cancer.
Yeah, thanks for having me here. I think for Tata 1mg today, cancer is one of the focus areas, a condition that we are very much committed to working towards. We have set up an end-to-end care program for cancer because it's a multi-pronged situation for a family dealing with cancer. So it includes, of course, connect with doctors, connect with hospitals, pharma companies, a lot of care programs and support programs that are out there, so it starts with information. What support is available out there, transparent information around that, and then providing where we can. So we run a lot of awareness campaigns, cancer diagnosis, screening camps. So we've seen things move fairly well over the last year or so. Just to give you some example, we started cancer screening probably 2 years ago. Today, on a monthly basis, more than 10,000 people are getting screened, which is a good start, I would say. But it was around half of that a year back, and that's heartening to see that the initial steps are being made in these directions.
What do you think has resulted in this change where you are seeing more people coming in for screening?
So I think it comes from a lot of campaigns that build awareness, Sanjeevani being one of the great campaigns in that light. So that awareness in consumers is slowly building. I think we are still really at the tip of this iceberg. So there's so much more to be done, but I am an optimist that we are moving in the right direction. And so see, it all comes down to people finding the conversation in the mind space. So as 1mg also, we've been very actively doing information dissemination, campaigns, mailers, push notifications, webinars, etc., etc. Thankfully, on a platform which has a lot of people coming, a bunch of them then consume the content. The open rates on cancer-related information, that shows how much is the gap, is north of 30-35% for us, which is very high. People typically do not engage with disease content in such numbers. So we are very optimistic that people are engaging, people are learning, and then people are seeking a little bit of the solutions also.
I just want to narrow down a little bit. When you talk about these people coming in for early screening, what kind of tests are they coming in for? What are they most comfortable to do? Where do they lack the fear or, have less fear?
So, two parts to it. Number of people who are coming to inquire is really high. Conversion is much lower, but we are still talking north of 10,000 a month. So it's a good place to start. But there are a lot of fears right now. The biggest fear people have is that it's just, I don't want, ignorance is bliss. I don't want to know the bad news. And now, however illogical it may be, but that's the single biggest fear, that what if I get to know something and then what will happen to me, my family, there's that, and maybe not knowing is going to drive it away, which unfortunately is a big mindset shift that is still needed to be there.
I think it's also immediate results. People want to know kya hua test ke saath, right away, within say 10 minutes of the test. But realistically, how long does it take for the results to come? Has it improved over a period of time?
So I think that the test depends on the test. There are tests that are, it takes a week or two to do a proper sequencing test or most of the tests out there. So it is a couple of weeks of, if it is sequencing based. Radiology, you can get the results right away. I think Geetha is here, so Niramay kind of screening for breast cancer and all, that is real time. But other sequencing based tests, they do take the 2 weeks, and those 2 weeks understandably is a lot of stress. Everyone hopes that nothing adverse will come out. So yes, has it gotten better? Everything is getting better. As the ecosystem starts moving, the scale improves, efficiencies improve. And when you look at the core, how the system works, scale really drives things. So,
well, Pratima, Merck specialities, you all have a strong focus in terms of oncology. Tell us, what does your oncology portfolio comprise of in India, and which are the key therapies that you focus on, and which are the key therapies you think that the Indian population needs or you need to focus on as a company?
Yeah, thanks, Ekta. I hope everyone can hear me. The acoustics are not very good from here, actually. But I hope I'm audible. And thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure to be a part of this movement, quite frankly. And it's really topical, given that NCDs, and especially cancer, is becoming a public health burden in India. Already, based on Globocan data, we are the third highest in terms of cancer, burden that we face in this country, which is about 1.4 million population. And, I do feel humbled and, of course, proud to say that we have a good understanding of this ecosystem. We have been operating in this country for close to 2 decades and working with our clinicians and the patient communities in some of the hard-to-treat and very, very prevalent cancers here in India, including head and neck cancer, and oral cancer is a part of that, colorectal cancer, bladder cancer, kidney cancer, and so on and so forth, so, and also types of lung cancer, and etc. And firstly, I'm really happy. I think the first step as a pharma company, which is very important when you operate in a country like India with a high disease burden, is to make your products available. Sometimes it takes time for global products to come into the country. So number one, I really feel happy to say that all our products are available in the country and within the first couple of years of their global launches, right? So that is a very strong commitment, I think, from our organization to address the disease burden here. But beyond that, and I think, of course, platforms like Sanjeevani are very, very critical in addressing the awareness and detection piece. But I can tell you, being somebody who operates a little bit down the continuum, beyond awareness and screening, there are additional challenges here on the ground as well.
Such as what?
Such as equitable access, and also ensuring that there is the right data available, biomarker testing that I think Prashant was alluding to on NGS, etc., so that the right patient is able to get treatment from these precision oncology products. And we do a lot of work in this area as well. I think Arogya Finance is something which is very familiar to us as well. So in India, Of course detection, of course awareness, but beyond that, ensuring that your patients are also able to afford the products is a very big thing. And I'm very proud to say we've been pioneers in that area. So we have a very strong patient access program that we've been running for the last 15 odd years. Of course, it has changed shape as the external environment has evolved, but we have a very robust mechanism to ensure that the right patients are able to afford our products. Yeah.
But that's what I wanted to narrow down on, accessibility of the drug. Merck
Yeah.
Specialty, I assume, imports all of your drugs
Yes.
into India.
Yeah.
So there's a huge price difference.
Yes.
There are a lot of people who can't even afford your
Yes.
drug.
Yeah.
So what are you doing to bridge the gap there?
Yeah, so that is exactly the point that I was making, right? So the patient access program is the mechanism that you typically use to ensure that the right patient is able to benefit from your products. And I think in the previous panel, it was highlighted by Mr. Jose from Arogya Finance in terms of mechanisms available so that the right patient who is not, from a certain economic strata, who doesn't have access to the resources to be able to afford your products is able to get that. So that is something that we do very, very actively. But beyond that, the other element is also in precision oncology. In order to get the maximum benefits of your product, you need to ensure that the right genetic profile match is happening with your product, right? Because it is an era where it's not one product fits all. So, within lung cancer, you will have multiple types of lung cancer. Within colorectal cancer, there are multiple gene expressions that you need to address. So one is, of course, the product affordability, but the other element is also the biomarker testing, which we support as a pharma company. In fact, I will say we've been pioneers in shaping that environment here in India with the diagnostic partners that we have been working with and, have been offering this for the last many years at low or no prices to our patients.
This is not only a Merck Specialties problem, it is an MNC problem.
That is true.
Where all of the drugs are imported into the country and then it becomes unaffordable even though you have patient access programs. You
Yeah.
also have aftercare issues where the patient needs drugs even post the therapy. So in that sense, what is a solution which is probably sustainable and equitable in terms of access when it comes to pricing? Do you think there could be indigenous manufacturing eventually?
So maybe I think if you have to ask me my reflection, I'm giving a more personal reflection here, I think it's eventually a multi-stakeholder problem. And I can give you some statistics, right? India today, in terms of the healthcare spends on GDP, is amongst the lowest in the world. If you contrast this with obviously something like the US, 17 to 18% of the GDP is spent on healthcare, a significant contribution coming from the public healthcare spend. In China as well, you will see that contribution from the public side is significant. In India, what is very different is that a significant burden of healthcare is still with individuals and maybe private insurance, right? So I think as the country evolves and we see that, and we are seeing a lot of steps from the government side without question in terms of improving the healthcare access, I think that is going to be critical. Today, of course, the need of the hour, when we talk about healthcare access from a government side, the imperative is to have the right capacity level. So, we have to increase the number of doctors, nurses available so that infrastructure building is happening. You need to have the primary healthcare centers. You need to have the tertiary healthcare system. The entire ecosystem needs to come together. Our payer ecosystem needs to get unified under one national health mission. Today you have pockets of payers. There is a central payer, there are state payers. So there is, I think, a multi-stakeholder topic, right, which I think, of course, as pharma companies, and I speak on behalf of my colleagues in the OPPI, we are absolutely motivated. And, each and every one of us here who's a managing director is actually an ambassador of India. So I can tell you that each and every one of us is raising the voice of India and the affordability topic, and which is the reason why we have these access programs running. But the more we bring the entire stakeholder system together and develop solutions, including, having the right partnership with the government, we will be able to make success.
Sure. Prashant, you're right at the forefront in terms of seeing what's taking place when it comes to oncology testing. How are you now integrating that into your workplace for your employees?
We have to do better in that. I think our employees per se, it's a very young workforce, so awareness is the area where we have tried to do the maximum thing that people should know what all is preventable. So 2-3 areas which are of prime focus for us. One is cervical cancer vaccination. So that is one area where at least now both our workforce is fairly well aware, and we have run a lot of awareness campaigns across the board. So that part I think we have covered well. Beyond that, I think there's a long way to go even in our own workplace.
Well, talking about the cervical cancer vaccine, we all know how successful it has been where it's been used. And for example, in England, it brought down cases by 90% of cervical cancer. Vaccines is a great way to prevent cancer. Does Merck have a pipeline that it might be looking at when it comes to R&D and innovation for prophylactic drugs or vaccines?
Yeah, so no, good question. Unfortunately, not directly. Within our healthcare business, we don't have a pipeline where, of course, I mean, which for cancer vaccines. But what I can proudly tell you is that, you know, I don't know if everyone knows this. By the way, Merck is the oldest pharma company in the world. I need to put that plug in. And we not only operate on the healthcare side, but we have a very significant sector focus which supports the academicians, R&D, and pharma companies you know, with the right platforms to have the right medicine. So it's called Merck Life Sciences. And actually, we do have platforms, including mRNA platforms, etc., that we partner with the Modernas of the world. We are, in fact, IP holders in a lot of technologies under the CRISPR gene editing platform as well, which is a very, very important platform to develop the right cancer therapies, including played a role in CAR-T, etc., and so on. So not directly, yes, under my purview, but as an organization, for sure, we play a very important role in things. In fact, we were a strong partner in the COVID mRNA vaccine development that happened as well.
Okay. Well, Prashant as well as Pratima, before we wrap up, the top 3 points in terms of an agenda that we need to probably put into place immediately to increase cancer screening. Prashant, you go first.
I'm sorry, I didn't get the question.
The top 3 points that you probably need to put in place in order to increase cancer screening in India.
So I think awareness is at the top of the list. People need to know, they need to be aware, they need to be made aware that screening is important. And you know, actually, I'm sorry for the digression, but I want to make one point on affordability. I think as a society, we spend a lot more on cancer care for the same people than we need to, only because 70% get diagnosed in stage 3 and 4. And it's a disproportionately high expenditure when you are looking at cancer care starting at stage 3 and 4, as against if it were diagnosed at stage 1, the total expenditure actually would be systematically much lower. So when we look at it as from an overall perspective, there is a clear savings to be had if we screen early, screen better, treat early. It's a much, much more affordable system. So that's what the aspiration is. Now, what do we need to do about it? I think create as much awareness as possible. Try and figure out innovative paying mechanisms. And it has ROI. But this is something that, whether it is the insurance companies, whether it is the government, whether it is the corporates, need to step up that, yes, this is worth financing because this will give return. So that is something where we need some breakthroughs. Third part of it is just, I think, more research and development in cancer-related vaccination. I think as of now, very few cancers are preventable through vaccination, and from what I understand, that's not an area of very active work as much as I would hope it would be.
Okay, Pratima, briefly, yes. 3 top points.
Yeah, so I think maybe in addition to what has been said, I believe we have the science. Increasingly, we have the right tools, and we heard that a lot of them are under development as well. What we need, and we have platforms like these, you know. What we need is to actually bring this collective voice together and make it not as a one-off event. Maybe, you know, it has to be a continuous process, working together in a multimodal way, so to speak, to raise awareness against cancer. I think that will make a difference, and see how we can integrate this into the National Health Mission. Maybe that's the...
Prashant as well as Pratima, thank you very much for talking to us, and I'm sure this conversation will definitely continue. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Pratima, Prashant, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ekta. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are now moving on to the segment that we've all been waiting for. We have a runway for you. We are going to speak about not just stories, we are going to actually see people in action. We will see spirit in action. We have already spoken about what the innovation is all about, what needs to be done, the myths and facts. We have been talking about all of this, but now is time to shift gears and move to something really, really different. All right, we have a very special runway for you. Now, this is not a walkway runway which will bear witness, which is going to bear witness to a different kind of grace, a quiet strength that walks with it. Antaratma, as we call it, is the spirit within, and it is a tribute to all the cancer warriors. Tonight, we celebrate not just fashion, but fortitude. Not just beauty, but brave hearts that wear it. Welcome to Antaratma, where the soul takes center, a collaboration between Sanjeevani and Shobhitam. This is more than just a fashion show. It's a tribute to every heartbeat that dared to fight, to every scar that became a badge of honor, to the light that shines from within, unshaken, unbroken, unstoppable. Each ensemble tonight tells a story of resilience stitched in finery, of heritage woven with hope. And each of these role models are warriors in their own right. The walk on the rampway today, not just to showcase fashion, but to show us what it truly means to be alive, to thrive, and to make most of the second chance that they have gotten. From silence, she rises. From stillness, a heartbeat. This is not just a movement. This is a memory, a legacy, and fire. Each step tells a story. Each twirl unearths a truth of souls who have walked through storms and still bloomed. Of traditions woven with time, of strength wrapped in silk, of joy, of pain, of souls that refuse to dim. We have with us Vishwakarma Muskan taking over the stage with an Indian fusion performance, which is not just a dance, it's a prayer, a rebellion, a celebration, a rhythm of resilience.
na dim 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 na dim
opening the show is Anamika Soni, vibrant, passionate, and full of life. A gold medalist in Kathak, she first learned to dance through adversity. Diagnosed with blood cancer at just 4 years old and treated at the Tata Memorial Hospital, Anamika didn't just fight her illness, she danced through it. Today she returns to that very hospital not as a patient, but as a mentor, teaching dance to children who, like her, are finding their strength one step at a time. With over 8 years of dedication to shaping the world of Kathak, her journey from survivor to celebrated choreographer is a powerful reminder that when the soul leads, the body follows. That with passion of purpose, anything is possible. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the unstoppable spirit of Antaratma, Anamika Soni. Coming up next, meet Neha Ram, the living embodiment of the fierce power within. Diagnosed with blood cancer at just 13, she chose to live and rise with courage, letting her Antaratma, her inner spirit, guide her every step. Motivation was her weapon, dance her healing, and resilience her path. Today, she thrives in the world of finance, dancing through life with the unstoppable spirit of her soul. Neha represents power, fearlessness, and the unstoppable spirit yet again, a true reflection of the Antaratma within us all. Neha Ram. Gracefully walking the ramp now is Sathi, a radiant embodiment of calming grace that teaches us to accept every situation with poise. Diagnosed with blood cancer in 2015, she triumphed by 2017 and today channels her spirit into painting, dance and design. Carrying that grace into her art, Sathi's work showcases a powerful story of resilience and renewal. Her Antaratma reminding us to cherish life's second chances. Taking the stage now is handsome Devabrat, who is representing wisdom in a world overwhelmed by noise and unsolicited advice, as Anand was referring to it in one of his panels. Well, diagnosed after a burst appendix revealed cancer, he faced a flood of information, yet chose focus over fear, trusting the guidance of his doctors instead of searching aimlessly. Through 5 years of chemotherapy and immunotherapy, he remained positive, grounded, and deeply grateful for the unwavering support of his wife. Devabrat's journey reminds us to cut through the noise to seek true knowledge with clarity, trust, and inner strength. His Antaratma, the inner spirit, sustained him through every challenge. Please welcome Devabrat. We now welcome Anoop and Aparna to the stage, embodying the power of family and community in the journey towards healing. A cancer warrior who fought courageously for 3.5 years, Anup emerged stronger, turning his journey into inspiration. Today, he guides young minds as an art teacher, reminding us all that hope truly heals. By his side is Aparna Tyagarajan, the visionary dream weaver behind Shobhitam, where heritage meets heart. Aparna represents the power of community, family, friends, environment as essential threads in the fabric of healing. Together, they remind us that healing becomes catalytic with the right support, a tapestry woven by love, faith, and the strength of the Antaratma. Taking the stage now is Rohit, who is representing the medical fraternity that forms the essence of healing. His jacket, hand-painted with herbs and medicine, symbolizes the vital role of medical treatment and those who dedicate their lives to care. Rohit was diagnosed with leukemia at just 6 months. Despite losing a spleen and living with one kidney, he triumphed in 2010. Today, he coaches badminton with passion and captures life's moments through special photography, walking with deep gratitude for his parents, his faith, and the belief that positivity truly heals. Please welcome Rohit. Our next hero is Gauri Shinde. Let me tell you a little about Gauri. Gauri represents love, the source from which all healing flows. Now walking the ramp is this beautiful embodiment of love, resilience, and unwavering spirit. First diagnosed with AML in 2009, her strength carried her through the chemotherapy and the recovery. A decade later, in 2019, the cancer returned, but so did her courage. With grace and grit, she faced it all again, never giving up. Today, Gauri thrives, full of life, forever grateful for the love and support of people who stood by her side. She reminds us that love for life, for others, and for oneself is great, perhaps the greatest healer of all times. Please welcome Gauri Shinde. And next we have Sahara, a radiant symbol of healing and hope. राख से जो उठी आग है वो शमा नहीं तूफान है. She wears a sari hand painted with a phoenix rising from the ashes and lotuses, powerful symbols of triumph over adversity. She was diagnosed with cancer at just 2.5 years old, and it was her mother's unwavering support that actually carried her through. Originally from Nepal, her journey brought her to Mumbai for treatment, and today she shines as a professional dancer and an aspiring actor. For Sahara, cancer was not the end, but a beginning of a life that was filled with meaning, purpose, and passion. Please welcome Sahara. And once again, Muskan takes the center stage to celebrate the warrior spirit, the Antar Atma, with utmost grace of all the warriors that just walked the ramp. Ladies and gentlemen, and now she walks, not to be seen, but to be felt. She is the strength that doesn't shout, but stands tall. Grace that doesn't bend, but commands. Wisdom that doesn't whisper, but awakens. She is every scar turned into a crown, every silence turned into a storm. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Vidya Balan, a woman who doesn't just speak lines, she breathes fire into truth. As she walks, she carries with her every single warrior here and there, every soul that dared to rise. Vidya Balan. And joining Vidya are now all our brave warriors. We also have now Aparna from Shobhitam to join the runway finale. Well, we saw that scars are not signs of weakness, they are signs of survival and strength. Before I let all of you go, may I have Shireen back on the stage to have a little candid chat with all of them.
Can I have the microphone, please? Ladies and gentlemen, can we give them all a wonderful round of applause? If I didn't know, I would have believed that each one of you was a professional, that you do this for a living. I mean, the poise, the confidence, the grace, the elegance. I can go on and on. What a spectacular show to see you all up here. And I think what they truly symbolize, ladies and gentlemen, is that we are not prisoners of our circumstances, that we do not need to be victims in our own lives, and each one of them symbolizes exactly that. Anamika, aapse shuru karungi. You know, I saw your resilience and your spirit in full display when your jacket got stuck, but you carefully removed it and moved on, and that really showed your fighting spirit. तो मैं आपसे जानना चाहूँगी, क्या मैसेज देंगे आप सबको? आपने कैसे आपने जो आपकी जर्नी रही है, क्या मैसेज आप सबको देना चाहेंगी?
गुड इवनिंग एवरीवन. जब मैं 4 साल की थी तब मुझे ब्लड कैंसर हुआ था, एंड एज अ कैंसर सर्वाइवर, एज अ कैंसर पेशेंट मैं उस हॉस्पिटल में रही हूँ. अभी मैं एज अ वॉलंटियर वहाँ पे वर्क कर रही हूँ, तो ये अपने आप में बहुत बड़ी बात है. मुझे बहुत प्राउड फील होता है कि मैं ये चीज़ें कर रही हूँ. और आपने जैसे देखा कि मैं आगे चल के लाइक पोजेस कर रही थी, सो मैं चाहती हूँ कि इस चीज़ को मैं आगे बढ़ाऊँ और बच्चे सीखें, इंस्पायर हो और वो भी ऐसा कुछ कर पाए. Thank you.
I hope that people are inspired by your story, Anamika. Ladies and gentlemen, a wonderful round of applause for Anamika. Neha, aapse पूछना चाहूंगी. To start with, you look beautiful in your sari this evening, and it was a pleasure to watch the ramp. But आप ये बताइए कि आप क्या कहना चाहेंगी जो आपको देख रहे हैं आज, जो आपको सुन रहे हैं आज, आप क्या बताना चाहेंगे उनको?
गुड इवनिंग लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन. मैं यही कहना चाहूँगी, ये जो बहुत सुंदर ब्यूटीफुल मैंने साड़ी पहनी है, ये एक दुर्गा माँ का एक प्रकोप होता है जो कि कैंसर पेशेंट जो होते हैं उनको एक फाइट करने का जरिया मिलता है. मैंने भी सरवाइव किया है और मेरे सरवाइव में मेरे मॉम डैड और CPA वाले मैम्स और मेरे डॉक्टर अडवाणी सर, मैं शॉक हो गई देख के उनको. मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा उनको देख के. उन्होंने बहुत हेल्प किया हम लोग को. और मैंने मतलब जो मेरी जर्नी गई थी थोड़ा टफ था, बट इनके सपोर्ट की वजह से मैंने काफ़ी अच्छा सरवाइव किया. और जो मैंने आज रेड साड़ी पहनी है, बस मैं इतना ही कहूँगी, कैंसर कोई बड़ी चीज़ नहीं है. उसको हम थोड़ा सा स्ट्रांग बन के अगर थोड़ा सा फाइट करें तो इट्स ऑल, सब अच्छा हो जाता है.
सब अच्छा हो जाएगा. Yes. What a powerful message there coming in from Neha. And truly, as she pointed out, it's not just about the person who is dealing with the disease, who's dealing with the illness. It takes, as they say, a whole village of caregivers, of healthcare providers, and really a big salute and a big thank you and gratitude to all the healthcare professionals who are here with us in the room today, but have also been part of the Sanjeevani journey over the last 3 years. The nation does owe you a big debt. Thank you so much for your service. Sathi, aapse पूछना चाहेंगे. Again, you look absolutely stunning in that beautiful purple sari. कैसा लगा आपको आज यहाँ पे रैंप वॉक करते हुए?
बहुत अच्छा लगा. मीन्स एक न्यू एक्सपीरियंस एंड इतने सारे लोगों के सामने रैंप वॉक मीन्स अ बिग थिंग्स फॉर मी. थैंक यू सो मच एवरीवन. एंड वन चीज मैं कहना चाहती हूँ, जो भी पेशेंट्स है अभी जो फाइट कर रहे हैं कैंसर से, बी स्ट्रांग ऑलवेज. अगर आप स्ट्रांग रहोगे तो आपके फैमिली भी स्ट्रांग रहेंगे. Thank you.
There is great strength in each one of these individuals and so much inspiration that you're leaving us here with this evening. Thank you very much, Sathi, for that. Devbrat, can I just say you are a star. From the moment that you walked out, it was very, very hard to take our eyes away from you.
So
you had the poise and the elegance and you walked with such panache. I mean, Akshay Kumar ki aaj aapne chutti kar di. So, Devbrat, aapse जानना चाहेंगे, what has been the biggest lesson, the biggest learning? क्या आप share करेंगे लोगों से आज?
Few things. One is when we are in a city like Mumbai, if we go to a doctor, oncologist who are so learned, so my only thinking was that I should be completely relying on them and don't rely on Google.
Don't rely on Google or ChatGPT. Go to your doctor.
I have, till now, it's 6th year now, and I have not done a single Google on what I have gone through and what can happen to me. I have not done that. Second, most important is, I think it is very necessary for all the citizens to have a health insurance, because that is the biggest challenge all the cancer patient faces. So I am staying here, standing, all because of my insurance policies which I had invested in.
And that is practical, real practical advice. And thank you so much for sharing that with us. And thank you for the fabulous walk that you did this evening. Thank you very, very much, Devabrata. Anup and Aparna, I want to come to the two of you because it was wonderful to see the two of you walk the ramp together, showcasing and symbolizing the strength of community, and that this is a journey that one must not hopefully make alone. I want to start by understanding from you, you put all of this together here this evening. As you see them on stage, how do you feel?
I am super happy. Today's show is a celebration of life. It's a celebration of second chances. My mom has been a cancer survivor. My sister-in-law has been a cancer survivor, so I dedicate the show to them. Through close proximity with them, I've learned that, you have to live life fully, love deeply, and most importantly, live a life for yourself.
Live a life for yourself, live fully, and experience everything as it comes to you and be open to those experiences. Thank you so much, and what an absolutely stunning show you put together for us here today, Aparna. Thank you very much. Anup, आपसे जानना चाहेंगे, आपको कैसा लगा आज वॉक करते हुए और आप क्या कहना चाहेंगे लोगों को?
मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा, बहुत खुशी हुई और खास करके मैम के साथ।
और आप सबको ऐसे वेव कर रहे थे जैसे लग रहा था कि वो क्वीन ऑफ इंग्लैंड ऐसे वेव करती थी।
एक्चुअली मैं सबको थैंक यू बोल रहा था।
नहीं, हमारे दिल से बहुत बहुत थैंक यू आपको कि आपने आज यहाँ पे हमारी स्टेज और मंच की शोभा बढ़ाई। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद अनूप, एंड वी विश यू ऑल द वेरी बेस्ट एज यू मूव फॉरवर्ड। विद्या, आई विल कम टू यू एट द एंड, बट रोहित, आपसे पूछना चाहेंगे कि आप क्या यहाँ पे मैसेज देंगे सबको जो आपको देख रहे हैं?
गुड इवनिंग एवरीवन। मैसेज तो कुछ नहीं, मतलब जो अपने साथ है फ्रेंड्स, गुड फ्रेंड्स जो है उनके साथ रहना चाहिए, जिससे आपके लाइफ में पॉजिटिविटी बनी रहे, उससे अपने को कोई भी सिचुएशन से लड़ने की ताकत मिलेगी।
Absolutely, be positive and surround yourself with people who are not energy vampires, people who actually add to your energy, don't deplete your energy. I think that's a very important message that we've heard there from Rohit. Gauri, again, an absolutely stunning sari. You look wonderful here. आज आप रैंप पे वॉक कर रही हैं with such confidence, with such poise, और जो आपने देखा है अपनी जिंदगी में, कभी आपको ऐसे लगा कि मैं हार मान जाऊंगी, या कभी आपने उसके बारे में सोचा ही नहीं?
नहीं, कभी भी नहीं। मतलब ये मेरा सेकेंड टाइम था। जब 2019 में मुझे हुआ था, तब मैंने सोचा नहीं था कि मुझे फिर से सरवाइव करना पड़ेगा, पर जब सारी चीज़ें मेरे सामने फिर से आके खड़ी हुई तो मैं बहुत स्ट्रांग थी, मुझे कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ा। मेरी फैमिली थोड़ी वीक हो गई थी, पर मैं जिस तरह से स्ट्रांग थी तो मैंने उस सारी चीज़ों को संभाल लिया, और अभी मैं बहुत खुश हूँ और बहुत हेल्दी भी हूँ।
आप हमेशा हेल्दी रहे और हमेशा खुश रहे, यही है हमारी शुभकामना आपके लिए। गौरी, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर जॉइनिंग अस, एंड द वंडरफुल सहारा। You know, you can, I think you've earned your ticket to Bollywood. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you say? Ticket to Bollywood? किस फिल्म में काम करना चाहेंगी, किसके साथ काम करना चाहेंगी?
विद्या मैम के साथ, ऑफ कोर्स।
तो सहारा, कौन आपका सहारा रहा इस सफर में?
So when I was diagnosed with cancer, I did not see it as a deadly disease, or did not see it like कि मेरा लाइफ यहाँ खत्म हो गया है। मेरे लिए मेरा लाइफ वहाँ शुरू हुआ। Because when I was diagnosed with cancer, it came with a lot of opportunities. I started dancing there, I learned acting there, and that is a place where I discovered who I actually was. And I feel like if I was not diagnosed with cancer, I would not be who I am today. And I would like to say a very big thank you to my mother. Because in this whole journey, she has been a support. Truly, she's the only person I have in my family, and she has been there since the beginning. She left everything for me, and she dedicated her whole life to me so I can become who I am. And I would also like to thank my another mother, who is Anita ma'am. She has been the backbone. If it was acting, dancing, modeling, whatever it is, she would always be there. So I see cancer not as a disease, but as a second life and an opportunity. And that is what I like to tell everyone, that please, it's not a disease, it's an opportunity that God gives you to live a second life fully.
To live a second life fully. Wonderful words. What spirit. Ladies and gentlemen, Sahara, we wish you the very best of luck, and we hope that we will see you on the big screen one day. Vidya, you know, as I look at this stage today and as I hear these stories, this has the makings of a blockbuster. What do you think?
Absolutely a lifelong blockbuster. And you know, I think what you realize is dar ke aage jeet hai. Each one of them has proved that. Each one of them is living by that. And I think that's very, very inspiring. It's very humbling to be standing amongst you all. More power to you all, and I wish you the best of health and everything that each one of you wants. And I think, you know, I just want to congratulate Shobhitam, Network 18, Federal Bank, everyone who's made today possible. It's so special. It is the best way to celebrate life.
What do you take away from what you've heard this evening, Vidya? What's the single biggest thing that you take away from this evening?
That I guess, you know, they are very strong people, which is why they could overcome it. They did not let the disease overpower them. They proved that they were bigger than the disease. You know, I remember a friend's mother was diagnosed with cancer, and the doctor told her that, you know, you are bigger than the cancer inside you. And I think that gave her perspective. You know, he said the cancer is just a small part of your body. Yeah. But your body, your being is far bigger. And I think that's what I'm seeing with all of them. You know, I think it's so beautiful. That's what I take back even more strongly today.
That is what each one of us here takes back from these inspirational, wonderful men and women that are sharing the stage here with us. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, a big round of applause for each of them. Thank you so much for joining us here this evening. We wish you all the very best.
Thank
may God
you.
bless you, and may you have all of your dreams fulfilled. Keep the applause going, ladies and gentlemen. It's not every day that you get to meet real-life heroes, and here we are with real-life heroes this evening. Vidya Balan, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us here
Thank
this
you.
evening. Ladies and gentlemen, a quick photograph.
Can you just leave this there, please? Yeah, sure.
Thank you to all of you. A huge round of applause, everyone, for the wonderful people who are sitting in front of me, are on the stage. Well, this runway was brought to you in partnership with Shobhitam. It's a leading D2C ethnic fashion brand known for their unique designs. They have worked with over 600 weavers and artisans across India. And Shobhitam is taking our cultural heritage to the world with Vidya Balan as one of their global brand ambassadors. And bringing this show to life was the fashion director, Abhishek Jaiswal. Abhishek, can we have you here? Wherever you are, can you just come on stage? So Abhishek Jaiswal is backstage, but he is known for creating emotive, memorable and impactful visual identities, and he was here. And the man who styled the looks for today's runway is the young, accomplished Pranay Jetli. Pranay Jetli, are you also around? If you are, then just come here and say hello to everyone. And I would also now take a moment to thank our outreach partners, Tata Trusts and Cancer Patients Aid Association. And finally, a big round of applause to all the amazing real-life role models who were here. This is not just a show of resilience, but also the spirit. And cancer may strike the body, but it cannot conquer the spirit, as they say. So thank you, everyone, to each one of you who has very patiently attended all the panels, all the keynote addresses, sat through a beautiful performance on the runway. Time निकालें, screen करें इस message के साथ. अब आप घर जाएं, लेकिन लोगों से बोलें कि वो भी अपने लिए time निकालें और screen करें, because that is what is the essence. We save lives only when we are screening early. On behalf of Network 18, Federal Bank, Hormis Memorial Foundation and Tata Trusts, thank you very much.
you.